So I'll do a quick recap while we're working on Honeybee. I gotta remind myself, Honeybee is the bear, Bjorn, and Butterbee is the horse. Honeybee, Butterbee, Honeybee.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, are they mispronouncing Butterbee?
We have a surprising.
Yeah,
We have a
God,
lot of
it
companions,
is.
right?
right.
It is lucky I lost that spider.
So,
Gee, and I was just thinking of picking up a companion myself. No, I'm just kidding.
so last session, you started in the camp at the camp at the bridge over the Malgamar, along the trail or path that goes from Carvosi south towards Ambrian lands past Jakar. You had made it there after really accepting a quest or need from Tiara Tiana at the Hall of a Thousand Tears to track down the head of a forest spirit called Eox, this huge, giant, kind of boorish forest spirit that was still breathing even without its head, because the elf didn't know how long it was going to survive without it, and that Ambrian treasure hunters had taken it. And so the company left the Hall of a Thousand Tears, came up through a tower in the Black Leech Rift, through a gate, an elven gate, and fought their way past some spiders, and luckily survived a massive abomination in the marsh, and then eventually came down the Malgamar. Along the way, they met Lothar, who had just had an altercation with a witch, and tracked her bloody path into the forest, and found some barbarians who were ready to dispatch a colossi. They overcame those barbarians. Lothar was the only one to know or recognize that they were Saars that were dressed like Odavians, and for some reason were incognito or faking their actual origin. The Colossi went back and picked up the witch that was along the Malgamar and started going north, obviously taking the witch that the Colossi was attached to back to clan lands, perhaps. Kai decided to chase after it with the group and eventually enslaved the Colossi through a ritual the Colossi had taken as the effect of enslaved ritual was starting to come to be. It kind of detoured and laid to rest the witch in this old kind of witch ruins or sacred land with these piled up giant boulders that were inscribed and incised with multiple different script and pictures and icons. And they fled, really, the emanation of these spirit witches that were asking them to free them. And they fled out from there and then continued down the Malgamar and came into the camp. Hagan was approached by children to help them find some treasure. Kai found a campsite kind of outside the bridge camp itself in the field, and Hagan and Lothar sold off some of the treasure and equipment they found. During that time, Lothar recognized there were other Saars in camp that were also dressed not of their clan and faking that they were from the other clan, and Odavians, and they set up camp for the night. During the night, one of the Guttorm and the goblin also kind of got past the gate, or got past the watch with help from the Wrath Guards, who were Wrath Guards that he had met before, especially a Wrath Guard called Arona. As they set up camp, Arona was on watch, and a little bit distant it seemed like, watching over them, and they actually had a shift out of wrath guards for whatever reason. And Hagan and Guttorm, the kids, kind of snuck back into the camp, and Hagan and Guttorm crawled out and went to see this treasure. The treasure ended up not being a treasure. They followed the two kids, Catherine and Igvana, to a cave opening underneath this huge tree and found a woman claiming ownership of the children. At first, Hagan threw Catherine back, maybe frustrated that they were lied to, and then realizes and discovers that the woman wasn't what she seemed and something was off. And they eventually found out that she's undead, or, an abomination and foul, and they succeeded in defeating that woman and perhaps saving the children from being under her power. At that same time, Lothar and Kai were in camp, and they heard some noise and found that the Wrathguard that was in the distance, kind of in the dark kind of garden, was no longer there. Lothar went out to see, and they found that Wrathguard had been killed, and they were promptly attacked by Saars that were dressed as Odavians. The Saars entreated Lothar to, lay down his arms because he was a brother of their same clan, and Lothar refused. And Kai went the other direction. He was suddenly attacked by magic, and he thought it was from the Saars, and so he got up on the colossi and went in the other direction, and lo and behold, it was actually this witch called Baya, who he had met earlier, who had taken offense to him taking control of the colossi, and she used the distraction of the Saars attacking to actually try to free the colossi from Kai's grip. Lothar and eventually overcame the Saars, and Kai had his colossi run heavily, trying to dislodge the witch as it turned into this giant bear-like creature. And luckily he held on, but the witch fell off, and he kept running through the camp over the bridge over the Malgamar. And that's kind of where we ended it last time. Anyone have any additions to that, or think I missed something?
Don't think so.
That
Okay.
does sound a lot like what went down.
So we'll start there, really. And we're feed in Boru, the new character in a way, somehow. Boru's clan by Agat. Boru, how come you're at the camp?
So when Honeybee was much smaller, basically a cub, some Ambrians came and killed his mother, and I saw who did it, and ever since, like at first I tried to help and, spy on the guys, but eventually they got away. So then raised Honeybee, and like Clan Biegorn is known for, they're barbarians that fight with Biegorns, and Biegorns are essentially Davokar bears. So I took Honeybee, raised him, learned to fight with him, and now that we're older and more capable, we're off to find the Ambrians that killed his mother. And
Okay.
One in particular has a couple of very distinct physical features, so I go around, not sure that they're still in Davokar, but I go around from place to place and look for, a guy with a nasty looking bear claw mark on his face.
Okay. Yeah, it seems reasonable because it's spring. Just to get you where we are here, it's early spring. You're on the map. You're right here where the icon is, just south of Carvosi, and that's where the bridge is over the Malgamar. So perhaps, as spring is getting on, he realized there may be more traffic. Perhaps you'll find it. It's actually the 14th of Varion, and it's kind of early spring. So what we'll do is we'll start with Lothar and probably Boru. Lothar, you are atop Honeybee, and as the
You sure you don't mean the other thing?
no, Honeybee is his horse, and my fault.
No,
Butterby, right? See, yeah, I'm gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
I know.
Lothar, you're riding Butterby, or you're mounted. Butterby and you have come to terms during this battle. You realize the horse gets excited with battle. Is kind of snorting and raising one foot and kind of stamping it. And out of the gloom, you see a Wrathguard, or two of them really, two figures kind of materialize around where this battle was happening. You see one of them kind of bend over, which you realize is Arona. And show a picture of her here in a second. She seems to be inspecting one of the bodies, and after a moment, you just see her pick up the body and start dragging it towards you. They stop at the Wrathguard, and she drops the barbarian on the ground and looks at the Wrathguard and seems to inspect the Wrathguard that you had found that had been killed, that was guarding the camp. And then she picks up the barbarian who you slayed and drags it over you with this other tall Wrathguard next to you, and she just kind of pushes it or throws it right in front of Honeybee's right in front of Butterbee's front hooves. and she points at you and points at him. Now she's torn off the top part of it, this barbarian's kit, so his shirt is off down to his elbows, and the normal kind of tattoo or mark that he would have from Saars, because they mark themselves with tattoos, has been partially burned off, as if he tried to remove it. And she takes her sword and she puts it on the tattoo and points at you. And the other,
As I
right,
yeah, go ahead.
the other Wrathguard kind of looks at her, and you see he's taller and broader, but he obviously defers to Arona. And he looks at you and he goes, barbarian brother, why are these men dressed as Odavians? What has happened here?
All right, so I'll pull my lance out of the body of the last one that we kind of ran down, and I turn to him. I put up the universal signs of I don't know, and say, I do not know why these men are dressed as such. They bring dishonor to our clan. I have no idea why the Blood Daughter allows such things, but as you can see, I've ran down these ill-gotten men and their falsities. Probably a little bit more nuanced than that with the words.
Sure. He's about to ask you his name, and he gives you his name. He goes, I'm the Wrathguard Monovar, and then Arona just thwacks him. Whack. He's about a head taller than her, and she thwacks him, and she makes this sign she goes like this to him, and he looks at her head, and you almost see he rolls his eyes, and she hits him again, and he looks up at you, and he goes, I am Monovar, the Wrathguard, and this is Arona. Where is the goblin?
In the melee, Guttorm, we got separated from us. Last I saw, I'll point in the direction they went before.
Where Hagaan and Guttorm
He was,
went?
yeah.
Okay.
He went that way with some camp kids.
Yeah, Arona just kind of looks at you and looks at Monovar and, points at him, just takes her finger and points at him and points at you, and then her eyes, and she takes off, running along the path to find where Guttorm the goblin is. Monovar lets her leave for a little bit, then shakes his head. What is your name?
Lothar.
And how come you are in this camp?
I've traveled here with a group of friends. I'm sure you know one of them just came trotting through here on a, what's that thing called?
Colossi.
Colossi. I'm about to go assist him. I'm sure he's probably in trouble. My other friends, I have no idea where they are at the moment.
Mm. And so you're traveling south then?
Aye.
Okay. I'm going to... Why don't you roll a persuasion then, since you're lying?
That's not a lie. We're traveling south.
You are traveling south. It's a slight lie though. I'm gonna ask if he knows Lothar's name.
Boom.
Does Monovar know Lothar, the Wrathguard? The Wrathguard, I'll just say initiate, but it's not really initiate. No. So he has no idea. You look at him, he just kind of nods, Lothar. You see that the name Lothar doesn't really click with him. He doesn't recognize Lothar as a Saar barbarian sent to become a Wrathguard.
Right.
And it just doesn't really faze him. He has no idea, completely none. At this point, I would think that Boru, you've been in this camp at the bridge over to Malgamar, and obviously this battle or this fight between Lothar, the Saars, and barbarians has created enough noise to garner attention. And these two Wrathguards, Rona and Monovar, go outside. They're just outside the camp, kind of periphery. That's where Kai and Hagan and Lothar are camped, where the battle took place. Why would Boru investigate, do you think?
Well, he knows that Ambrians like to cause trouble with barbarians. He maybe figures some Ambrians were causing ruckus.
Okay.
And he figured one of those Ambrians causing ruckus almost certainly is likely to be the person he's looking for. So he's going to go check it out just to see, people making a ruckus, probably Ambrians.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the bridge camp is a contentious place because there's both Ambrians and barbarians. The Wrathguards are there in small numbers, but there's larger numbers of black cloaks. And because the bridge is used as a way for treasure hunters and larger parties, or those people going to Carvose, or what barbarians may think is invasion of their land. So as Boru is kind of investigating, he comes to this battle where he sees barbarians laying about. He probably would recognize a Wrathguard also in that mix. In the distance, he sees two Wrathguards talking to a barbarian on horseback, and then one of the Wrathguards, which he may know as a Rona, or maybe he doesn't, just kind of takes off and starts a trot, towards the forest line in the distance, in the northern kind of distance. What would he do as he comes on the scene of barbarians kind of laid out, and a dead Wrathguard, and Lothar above his horse, and a Wrathguard? They're probably maybe 50 yards or 50 meters in front of him, give or take.
Well, he doesn't know what predicated his arrival, so he's going to go over to the guy that looks like he could be dead and is going to give him a once over to, see if he can provide any aid, assuming nobody, impedes him in this process.
Yeah, I don't, Lothar and the other Wrathguard are in a distance. All the bodies around him are dead. Do you mean that you're going towards Lothar and the Wrathguard, Monovor, or you are inspecting the bodies themselves?
I'm going toward the dead Wrathguard.
Yeah. You find a dead Wrathguard, like you're kind of walking along, meandering. The bodies are splayed out, and you find a dead Wrathguard has been turned over, and his throat's been cut. He doesn't have any other battle wounds. Obviously, he was taken by surprise and taken from behind. He doesn't have wounds on his chest or arms or legs. He's obviously a Wrathguard in Wrathguard armor, but he was taken down by a small sharp weapon as opposed to direct battle. Boru would probably figure that this Wrathguard laying here dead didn't necessarily wasn't really part of the main part of the battle. Like he went down quietly
Okay,
at
well,
some point.
I will say some barbarian, for lack of a better word, prayer.
Okay.
About how his ancestors guide him into the next world and such. And then I'll look around and see if anybody else needs a hand. And I'll look for the obvious perpetrators, i.e., Ambrians.
Yeah, you see no Ambrians. You just see barbarians. Wrathguard in the distance, short distance, you can probably hear Lothar and Monovar talking as Arona runs off into the distance. They're all barbarians. Roll me a cunning check, just for giggles.
I'll be slightly confused that because my anticipated villains are not present, so this confuses me somewhat.
Yeah, you have no idea. Wrathguard is dead. There's barbarians that look like they're Odavians are dead. And you just have Lothar and Monovar, talking about, and you can hear Monovar perhaps asking Lothar questions. What would Boru do? And is Honeybee with them?
Honeybee is.
Okay.
Or he'll look around and see if any of the barbarians look like they need any assistance.
No, they're all dead.
Okay. No, the living ones.
Oh, the only living one is Lothar and the Wrathguard in your view. They're the only living things. You're kind of in like a field just outside the camp, and that's where the company had put their camp. But Lothar and the Wrathguard are the only two living that you can see.
Okay, well, I'll still look them up and down, see if they need a hand, and if it doesn't seem like either's injured, then I'll go back to double checking the barbarians, because I'm certain there's an Ambrian here somewhere, probably nefariously disguised as a barbarian. So I look for a barbarian that's actually an Ambrian with a scar across his face to see if my Ori is here.
Yeah, you come to Lothar and the Wrathguard Monovar, and Monovar kind of looks at you and says, "Bye, Egan." He looks at Honeybee, up and down. "Do you know anything about this, brother?"
Who are the Ambrians that cause such damage?
"This is an Ambrian business. Look at them. Can you tell? Do you see it?"
I look again.
He kind of points out, like there's a dead barbarian right next to you, and you see the Saar mark or tattoo on his left chest been partially burned. And Monovar, the Wrathguard, looks at you and says, "I am Monovar. Have you come across Saars that are dressed as other clans in your lands?"
I have not, that I'm aware of, seen such a thing. But, people sometimes hide their identities.
Okay.
Ambrians and barbarians alike, it appears.
Lothar or Boru, do you two say anything to each other? Lothar's up on his horse.
I think upon seeing this man walk up with a big beast roll of a bear, next to him, turns and looks and listens to you conversate with the other barbarian, the Wrathguard, and goes, "Well, it seems like you guys can handle this. I must go save my friend."
which,
And I'll,
one, which one are you going after?
I gotta go after
Kai?
yeah,
Or-
Kai.
okay.
I was gonna say Laramie, but that's a totally different thing.
So you tell Boru you have a friend in need and you another barbarian and you need to find him.
Right.
Monavar looks at you and says, "I will wait by your camp for Arona and her goblin and the other while you search for your friend."
I would be aware of any Odavians as well. There are probably Saars hidden amongst us. This is not the first time I've encountered it as I kick Butterbee, into a small trot.
Neither of you has seen an Ambrian with a nasty bear swipe on his face, have you?
Only Ambrian I've seen is who was it? Hagan.
Right.
You
Hagan
need help finding your friend.
Well, I think finding him will be pretty easy. He's on top of a colossi. I just know he probably needs some help.
Your friend is a witch, then.
I like, without responding, I'm like,
Maybe.
I know not what he is. I just know that he is a companion and is in need of help.
Does your witch friend need more assistance?
If I know Kai like I've known for the past few weeks, probably.
Then I will go with you and help your witch friend.
All right. So, Lothar and Boru will try to hunt down Kai and the Colossi, and the Wrathguard Monovar tells you he will stay in his camp because he's waiting for Arona and Guttorm and Hagan. As you guys go looking to see where Kai went. Hagan, you are walking back through the forest with Guttorm, and after defeating the undead woman who was controlling the children, and so Yigvana has your hand as you're walking through, and she kind of looks up at you and she says, "Thank you, Ambrian. Even though we lied." Her eyes are kind of bright and there's a little bit of tears in it. And, she's holding on to your hand as you're walking through Davokar trying to get back to the camp.
But, once we get to camp, we're going to have to part ways there.
Well, that's good because I only can hold your hand for so long. And she kind of gives you this little smile like she's holding your hand to keep you safe. Or she realizes, why she's going. She goes, but we owe you a debt. And then Catherine, the boy who's walking next to the goblin Guttorm, says, "We owe debting." And Igvana says, "I will pay the debt." And then Catherine says, "No, we all will pay the debt." And as you're coming through the forest, and he says that, these children kind of materialize out of the growth. They stand up like they're hiding.
Kids,
right, a bunch of kids kind of stand up and they hold back a little bit, and they kind of materialize in the dark forest. You can barely see them because it is, night. And some are taller, some than others. Some are really small. Some are, smaller than even Guttorm. None are probably older than 12. And Igvana says to you, Hagan, "What debt do you ask of us?" We will pay it. It's a pretty common barbarian way to owe a debt when a debt is, and to ask what you would accept as payment.
I kind of look to Guttorm and kind of give a quick shoulder shrug, like, It's
Guttorm,
like, listen, kid, I'm gonna have to think about that for a while.
she goes,
I don't
okay.
know what Guttorm would say.
Yeah, Guttorm wouldn't have any idea of, he's a Carvosti goblin who spent most of his life, or a number of years in the stables, and Yagvana shakes her head and she goes, "That is good. Then you have 70 years to decide, and after that, the debt goes silent."
Oh, wait, do you have any maybe potions or magic that we could put to use?
She looks at you. Goes, "The only one I have knows is the witch Baya, and we don't go by the witch Baya's place. I think she might eat children."
I wouldn't doubt that.
About this time, you're talking. You come out of the edge of the forest, and you could see the camp in the distance from the fires, and you're kind of following that kind of twinkling light as you get through the thinner part of Davokar and get to the edge of the forest, and you obviously see Arona run up. She's tracking along the edge of the forest, and she probably hears you coming through. And then, Arona, the Wrathguard's there. She kind of looks at Guttorm and thumps him on the top of the head, and makes this sign. And Guttorm, doesn't really have any idea. And Arona looks at you, Hagan, and does the same thing. And Igvana is still holding your hand. She goes, she looks up at you and she goes, "Ambrian, she wants to know what's happened. Why are you out here with us?"
She can't speak for herself.
No, if you remember, Arona has half of her face missing from some monstrosity, and she's the Wrathguard who can't speak. That's why she had Monovar, ask Lothar questions. So no, she uses a degree of pantomime and guttural kind of words.
Yep. All right. Well, quick summary is the children escorted us to a witch's lair, and my companion and I eliminated the witch.
She kind of looks from you to Yagvana and back to you, and then she steps down and kneels and grabs Yagvana's chin, pulls her close and looks in her eyes, and Yagvana tries to not look at her, and then she goes, It is true, Wrathguard. We were being controlled by something, and this Ambrian saved us." And you see Arona kind of look down would have been far easier if they would have asked her to do it. Kind of stood up and thumps Guttorm on the head again. And accompanies you back towards the camp over to Malgamar.
I whispered to the kid, I said, I think I have an idea for terms. In the next 3 years, whatever you pilfer, Guttorm and I will take 33%.
She looks at you. She goes, "Percent? What is that? How many fingers do you get if I have 10?
What's the smaller denomination than dollar? It's
a shilling or a
shilling. Yeah, I'd say whenever you take 3 shillings as treasure, or through your thievery, we get one of them."
She kind of sighs as she goes, "From one undead to an Ambrian, I thought it was going to get better." Starts laughing. Catherine kind of elbows her. He goes, "Deal then. 1 for 3.
Deal."
And you proceed back through towards the camp over to Malgamar. Kai, you were atop your colossi and you dislodged the witch Baya as you go thundering through the edge of the camp, and maybe even you have to go through part of the camp to have your colossi go over the bridge over to Malgamar, which you decided. You're over the bridge. How far does Kai go with the colossi?
probably far enough that I think that I'm no longer at risk of fire
Okay.
killing all of the worthless humans in the camp and running down the road after me. Because that bear was scary.
Yes, she was scary when she transformed. Make a vigilant test. You get over the bridge over to Malgamar, and you're probably 100 meters, 100 yards down the path towards the south on the other side. And you hear a whole bunch of noise and voices and guttural kind of shouts and language, across the bridge on the other side. You hear like pounding, like footsteps on the bridge itself, because it's behind you. What does Kai do as he hears all that noise?
A pack Colossus on the back and come on, double time.
What do you want the Colossi to do?
Amble at a slightly higher pace, away from the bridge camp, as I'm clearly being chased by a malicious witch.
Would you? Oh, well, you hear many feet.
Oh, many feet.
Yeah, like many feet, many male voices. It's not the sound of the witch chasing you or a giant bear-like creature. It's like, a troop of men, a number of treasure hunters, that sort of thing. 7, 10, 12, you hear noise of a large group moving across the bridge.
In which case, oh frick, it's a bridge, isn't it? Where am I going to hide?
Well, Davokar's all around you. You can get, the path isn't that wide, and you could dip into the forest if you wanted to.
I have, I stay sat on top of Colossus's back, and I have them step off the path and away from the trees and just stop moving, so they're a giant stone tree trunk statue.
Yeah, the Colossi moves off into the big trees and kind of kneels down, Kai, as you're there, and then the sound gets louder and louder, and the Colossi knows what you want to do, and its giant hand reaches up and grabs you, and then pulls you off its shoulder because you're way up there, perfectly in view, puts you up its shoulder, sticks you between her legs, sticks you between her legs, and kind of leans over you. So you're in between the Colossi, almost like the Colossi is putting a hand over your mouth, like I can't trust you to be quiet. And you're kind of inside the forest, and you see this group of barbarians, which is obvious, go trotting down. There's probably 15 of them, give or take, down the trail south. You count about 15 barbarians. You can't really tell, aside from the fact they're barbarians. You hear them one of them or two of them kind of giving orders out. Can't really tell what they're saying, and they continue down south past you as you're hiding in the forest.
Okay, they didn't have a decapitated bear head.
No. You do feel, though, that there's some link between you and your flame servant. You do feel that link wink out. You know that the flame servant is no longer standing or no longer alive.
Yeah, I mean, that's par for the course at this rate. Kai accepts that is a matter of course, as those servants obey him, and is looking for at the armor that these treasure hunters are wearing.
So you're in the forest. Boru and Lothar, it's not hard to find a Colossi tracks necessarily. It was the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. when this battle occurred, and it's dark, so there's not as many people awake. You are following the Colossi kind of tracks, which are obviously kind of far out easy, and you realize it's going to cross the bridge over to Malgamar, Lothar. You may catch the tail end of this big barbarian group that run across the bridge and go down into the far south. Lothar and Boru, as you come to the edge of the bridge over to Malgamar and can tell that the Colossi went over it, do you continue to follow them?
Yes.
Okay. You cross.
I imagine I'm
Go ahead.
like looking for this big colossi, and Kai's probably got like this little bitty like tree that he's trying to hide the colossi behind.
You're actively looking.
I like to think that it's you're looking for a colossi, and it's just like, well, there's 4 tree trunks standing next to each other, but I can't see where it is.
What I would have Boru and Lothar do is actually, or have, let me look at what Kai's. Yeah, his discreet isn't all that great. Roll a vigilant at +3. See if you actually see him. See who gets to rib the other for hiding. Right, Lothar, you're on the horse. Probably that's why you see it. Boru, do you run next to Honeybee, or is Honeybee like something you ride or mount?
No, Honeybee trots next to me. We're friends. He's
Okay.
not my mount.
And is it the size of a black bear or like a giant grizzly bear?
He's still kind of young, so he's more the size of a, mid-sized black bear, but he could get bigger. Like, I'm deciding whether eventually to give him robust or not. If I do, he'll start becoming like the size of a grizzly and then maybe even bigger.
So is he like a teenager?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of. All right.
A little more better behaved, but, he's young.
You hope. So, Lothar, you're up on Butterby, and Boru and the bear is trotting alongside you. And you see Kai and the Colossi in the forest. Kai is like between the Colossi's A's, and the Colossi is kind of bent over. What does Lothar do?
I think Lothar like sees Kai and the colossi, and he like kind of gives like a wave with his lance, and then like tries to call them over. Like, come on! Even though you left me with all the bad guys, they're all dead now.
Look, it gets up and is just not all that's dead. Couldn't you've kept Ember alive?
I don't even know where Ember is. Did Ember die?
Yeah.
Ember died.
It's possible that they just missed the remains of Amber as it attacked the witch that fell off Colossi, or somehow didn't see the...
Yeah, I didn't see that because I was still at the camp fighting.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Amber completely ditched Lothar mid-fight to chase down the witch, and it was just like did nothing to any of the guys.
So, Boru, as Kai, I assume you come out of the forest onto the trail.
Yeah.
Kai, you want to describe yourself?
Yep. Kai is first and foremost an elf. He is quite clearly an elf, but probably isn't the healthiest looking elf you've ever seen. Um,
His picture
that
is much better,
artwork,
though. Right?
yeah,
Maybe
that artwork is Kai on the healthiest day of his life. Uh,
what he would
he's
like to
actually
look like.
he's actually had a full 8 hours sleep and has had his makeup done for picture day. Uh, if you assume rather than makeup, those are just like bags under his eyes. For an elf, he looks rather sickly. Thin, lanky, and you probably get a slight vibe of him, like he's looking at you less as a person and more as a potential resource in arcane rituals.
Yeah, I don't know if Boru would know that. Boru, you come upon a colossi. Lothar, starts talking to Kai. You realize he's an elf. What does Boru look like to Kai?
Boru is big. He is everything that Kai is not. He's wide, he's healthy, he's very big. He's wearing studded leather armor. He's got a big axe. And he just looks physically imposing.
Now, what does he think when he comes upon this colossi and realizes that it's not a witch he finds, but an elf? And has he ever met?
He looks at the elf and says, "Are you a witch?"
I'd probably have a greater interest in the forest and its well-being than your darkness dabblers of human filth.
But you ride a colossi. You must be a witch.
Eh. Your terms, your considerations.
Well, if the colossi lets you ride it, I won't kill you. But once the colossi is done with you, I'll deal with it.
Does
You're not going to hurt Coloss. Kai is like protectively standing in front of the Colossus.
Colossi loomed over you? Would Boru think that this is abnormal, or he doesn't like that the elf is with the colossi, or would you have any idea of how that happened?
Elves are a weird exception. Okay. They have a relationship with Davokar. He accepts that. He hasn't met many of them, or any, before now. He thinks it could very well be the case that Colossi and elves have a relationship.
Okay.
And he doesn't know. And since this Colossi seems to accept their partnership at the moment, that's good enough for Boru.
Good. Hagan, you come out of the forest with the Ronin and you make your camp. You enter where the camp is and you see signs of battle everywhere. There's barbarians laying about, and no sign of Lothar or Kai, but it just looks a wreck. This other Wrathguard comes up and looks at Arona and says, you have found your goblin then? And Arona looks at him and just, pushes him a little bit. Hagan, your camp is a wreck. There's dead barbarian everywhere. What does Hagan do as he reaches his camp and finds it in this state?
I just look at Guttorm like, they couldn't wait for us, could they?
Right.
Maybe I would ask people who are living close by, who have survived possibly. I mean, do we see anybody who's injured?
Nope. The only thing living there is the two Wrathguards, Arona, who walked out of the forest with you with the kids, and they kind of taper off, except for Igvana and Catherine. They're still with you, kind of. Igvana probably drops your hand when you reach the edge of your camp and is looking at the guard and kind of looks at you and goes, well, I guess I got to start making you money. And you see Catherine and Igvana like start going through the corpses, like, pickpocket, checking them all, see these little kids dropping around, dead can't lay. And, kind of leaves you with the Wrath Guards. As they're doing that, and every now and then Igvana's looking at you and, tucking something into her pocket. Herona looks over him and shakes her head. The other Wrath Guard, Monavar, introduces himself and he says, don't worry, Ambrian, your friends are mostly alive. I believe they went to find some other. Some giant colossi went running through the camp, and we heard the battle and came and found our dead member, our dead Wrath Guard that was killed, and the remains of these false Odavians, he says.
Well, maybe you can guide us in the direction a little bit.
Yeah, he looks at you, and Arona kind of nods her head. He goes, yes, Amir, that's probably a good idea. I am Monavar, and says Arona. We should probably find the others so there's not so much trouble. We will come with you. I think they went through the camp, but it should not be hard to follow. And you and Guttorm follow Arona and Monavar through the camp towards the bridge over to Malgamar. At some point, probably, as you're almost through the camp, Igvana, the girl, and Catherine, the boy, kind of make your side. And she looks up at you and she jingles a little bit and hands you a purse. Your share, Ambrian.
I take a quick peek.
You take a quick peek?
Yep.
Yeah. You get 8 Thaler. Do you want to see the rest, or you trust me?
I will trust you.
Huh. Such an Ambrian. And she kind of giggles to herself. And you go over the bridge over to Malgamar with both Wrath Guards, Arona and Monavar. And you're partway across the bridge and you hear a shout from behind you. And Arona turns really quickly, and before you can even see it, she already has a blade in her hand. And the other Wrath Guard, Monavar, he's not nearly as fast. He has his hand on his weapon, but nothing has happened. Before he can even move it out, Arona has pulled her weapon, looked back, and then resheathed her weapon, and raises her hand, and you see a couple black cloaks and that big Ambrian guardsman who you met at the beginning, who were giving you a hard time, approach, and he looks at Arona, but stop. They stop about 10 feet away and side a little bit away from Arona to the other side, maybe where you're standing. You might be on the right and Arona's on the left, but they give themselves space around Arona. And the big guard goes, Wrathguard, group of barbarians created havoc and went running across the bridge. There were 15 or 20 of them, and they look like they have the same colors of those who are just in battle with. She kind of looks over at you. These ones kind of surprised you're still alive. Looks at the goblin and you and doesn't really compute, like you're still alive, but you're with the Wrath Guards. Monavar kind of pipes up and says, you come with us then. And the Ambrian raised her hands and goes, no, this is barbarian business. And takes 2 or 3 steps back when she says that, her eyes kind of flicking over to Arona. This is not our affair. We were just giving you knowledge and information. And they promptly turn around and leave.
Skedaddle.
Yeah. Do you ask them any questions as they leave, Hagan?
I don't think I would. Just kind of focused on catching up with the rest of the crew and
Okay.
trying to, analyzing the overall situation. What we missed.
So you cross the bridge with them, Hagan. You and Guttorm, the Wrath Guards, Odrona and Monavar, and you obviously see the Colossi. You see Lothar on his horse, and you see another huge barbarian and what probably looks like a bear as you approach the group. What happens as you meet them, Hagan?
So he looks like an obvious barbarian, right?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be. There's no argument happening. There's no danger or combat.
Nothing.
They seem to be discussing.
Kind of threat that we can see. Right.
Right. Seem to be discussing something.
Right. So I probably would approach, kind of stand within earshot and just listen to the conversation. Not interrupt at this point.
Right. Guttorm hails them. Dams. I didn't know you guys were alive. Kai and Lothar, you see Guttorm and Hagan and two Wrath Guards and two kids, really, come from the bridge camp, or the bridge over to Malgamar. Boru, it's obvious that one of them is an Ambrian. What do you do as they approach?
I'll look to see if he's got scars on his face.
Yeah.
Matches the physical characteristics of one of the guys I saw or any of his cohorts.
I
don't think there's any obvious signs of scars on my face.
Yeah, you want to describe Hagan?
I would say he's actually well built. Like that picture's probably, he's not of average build.
Yeah, he's a little bit broad, but a little bit broader, a little bit,
more
wider.
Broad. Dark hair, dark eyes, probably very dark brown. And he holds himself, I think, like an Ambrian. But he would notice probably a large pack, and he's probably a little disheveled as far as his pack goes, because you probably would see like maybe a map hanging out.
Paper.
Through his cartography gear. And he would see a fencing sword at my side. And leather armor or light armor.
Yeah, so
that's the first impression. Yep.
No Scarboru. He's actually a fairly looking Ambrian. Not quite as big as you though, but
no, definitely not.
Right. And definitely, although somewhat martial, but not necessarily rough and martial.
Right.
Do you do anything else, Boru?
Nope. I just, apparently Ambrians are allowed to roam the forest as they please.
Well, at least this one is.
Lothar would probably turn to the pair and be like, "And where have you two been? And why do you have kids with you, of all things?"
Wait, the kids didn't stay with us, right, Gene?
Yeah, just two of them, Igvena and Catherine.
They are still with us?
Yeah, the girl and the boy, the original ones, are still with you.
Oh.
She's not holding your hand. She's not holding your hand anymore.
Right, but I probably would shoo them away before this. Like, I don't, let's say we get to the bridge.
Uh-huh.
I would have, told her, we have adult business, so catch up with us later.
Okay. I think they would.
They wouldn't.
I think they would, but let me ask.
And I whisper to her, "Happy hunting." It's not really thieving, right? If they're dead.
Igvena just shakes her head.
What, little one?
Well, we have two others we got to find down this road. They were sent to find this caravan with things for the woman, and we must find them so they know they're free.
Well, maybe
We are
I'll
going
make
this.
that
We are
my-
going this way, Ambrian.
Okay, I'll make it my mission then. And then I speak up to what's RPG's character's name again?
Lothar.
He's Lothar.
Lothar. So I'm like, Lothar, we have a mission that we have to set out on.
A mission? What do you? What?
Yes, get to. We were already on a mission. You were meant to be taking us to your place outside the forest, Ambria.
Get to the chopper.
Well, maybe we can do a side trek.
I mean, it is kind of time sensitive that we get to Ambria. Do we really have time? Like, they've got short legs.
We can
Well,
ride the
I'll-
bear.
I'll-
Yvonne pipes up. Look, Catherine. It's a Bjorn. We can. She kind of looks around and sees Boru. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? Yvonne is like maybe 7, got blonde hair, blue eyes. She's obviously of Odavian or Cathar clan, although she's pretty dirty. Boru. She's not Bayegan. And Kathun is a little bit taller. He's probably 10, 11. Got really dark hair, very dark eyes. They're obviously not brother and sister. Their bone structure is different. And he's much quieter. Yvonne says, yeah, we won't be slow. We could ride the Bjorn. Captain, look, there's a Bjorn over there. It's small yet.
When they say that, Honeybee looks at them with a little chagrin and harumphs at them.
Yeah. Kathun is going to take like 2 or 3 steps back, but Yvonne, as spry as she is, she just snorts and like stomps one of her foot forward. She's maybe like a whole soaking wet 65 pounds or like 20 kilos. She looks a little bit malnourished, but you know, she just giggles when the bear does that. Come on.
I walk over to them and say, Honeybee will let you ride him, but you have to give him honey. That is his choice.
Ah, well, we can find honey. She winks at you. No,
And when
no
when
trouble.
you say that, Honeybee comes over to her and sniffs her, like trying to sniff the honey out.
Yeah, she's dirty. She's got coin in her hands. Like he sniffs around.
He doesn't care about that. He's
Right.
sniffing specifically for honey, or possibly like something nice and fatty like salmon.
Yeah, she just like grabs his giant head and starts scratching behind his big fat ears. Look, Kathun, it's a Bjorn. We're going south. We got to ride. One of our Ass, Kai, and Lothar. Did you see the barbarians run down this way? Did you get a good look at them?
Barbarians? Are they the particularly dirty type of humans?
Yeah, Kai, where you're hiding in the forest, that group that was like 15 that ran down the trail, those were barbarians.
Yeah, something like 20, 30 minutes before you guys showed up, there was another large group.
One of our kind of shakes his
It-
head.
It was around the time you let Amber die.
He looks at you kind of quizzically. One of yours has died? We came across no body.
Yes. Yes, a very important member of our group died. A great tragedy. Their loss will be felt until the next time I have an hour or 2 spare to replace them.
He kind of looks at you, not understanding. Arona just elbows them and rolls her eyes a little bit, and makes a sign. And you see one of our look back from you and the cloth eye and the thing, and he realizes that he's out of his depth a little bit. Kai. He's not quite as quick. Monavar looks at Lothar and says, Sar, do you think these are your men, your clan? Running
The
south.
barbarians, like, no idea. I did not see them. Could be. Apparently, something is foul with these Saar. I have no idea what it is.
Well, then we must figure it out. Arona and I will go south with you. Do you come with us?
Do I want to run into more of my clan that might know my secret? Well, I must first attend to this business with my party. Go collect info, find out what's going on, and once that's done, we shall meet up again.
Monavar kind of looks at you, and Arona like waves her hand, and almost dismissing you a little bit as she's looking up at your horse. He kind of squints a little bit at you, Lothar, because you are Saar, and it's hard to not miss on the way you speak necessarily. Monavar looks at Bodru and the Byron and says, Barbarian brother, it seems that you're coming with us, and the Ambrian. You have business down south. I heard the girls say they were searching for two of their own.
Somebody muted.
No.
No.
He just
Hey.
doesn't know you're talking to him.
Right. Bodru, are you there?
Oh yeah, sorry. Were you talking to me?
Yeah.
Sorry, your question made it sound like you were talking to like one of the other characters.
Yeah, I
don't
was
know. Sorry,
talking
I
about
split.
Hagan and Bodru. The Witch Guard and Odrona, asked Lothar, and they have a sense that the barbarians that came running south in the middle of the night, the 15 or 16 are actually Saars dressed as Odavians. And the girl Yevgena is searching for two of her own that were supposed to tail a wagon train and give information back to the woman that used to be in charge of them, that Hagaan and Guttorm saved them from. So Monavar asked if you would accompany them south to sort out this business with these barbarians who are dressed falsely, as Lothar has kind of decided that he's thinking about it.
I might be able to stumble across my prey anywhere, so south is as good a place to start as any.
Us going towards Thistlehold, which is where Ambrian line. Yevgena goes, yes, and we are going with the Bjorn and this big man. He kind of looks at you. He's big. He might help us. Hagan, how about you? And the Witch Guard says that they're going to go kind of track down this big barbarian group that ran out right after the battle with your friends.
Have they gotten on Honeybee yet?
Yeah, I think Yevgena is. Catherine.
Okay, so Honeybee lumbers toward me, stops, looks in my eyes for a moment, and kind of whines slightly. And then I nod my head and say, Honeybee says that when he growls, you need to get off his back, hurry, because he's going to go kill something.
Oh, that would be great, Yevgena says.
But you can't be on his back, so you got to get off in a hurry, okay?
She looks at, she goes, why? I'm good in a fight. Ask the Ambrian. She winks, she looks at Hagan and goes, making this
Okay,
face.
but, I'm Honeybee just asked me to warn you, that's all.
Huh.
You want to stay on his back, that's up to you.
I got a choice. Hagan, what? Go ahead.
Well, you have partly a choice. If Honeybee wants to throw you, Honeybee will throw you. So as long as Honeybee doesn't think the threat is too big, you'll probably get to stay on his back if you choose. But, if he thinks the threat is great enough, he will try to throw you. And it might hurt, and he wants to know he didn't mean it on purpose.
She goes, that's okay. I'll be ready. Hagan,
Kids,
go ahead.
both of you need to get onto the beast. And then I whisper to her, I say, please don't steal from my friends.
Oh, I'm glad you said something. Do I give it back now or when they don't notice?
Probably when they don't notice.
Okay. I'm sure they won't notice the second time. They didn't notice the first time. So, Hagan, how do you respond to the witch guard, Monavar? They're going to go south, track down this barbarian group.
Well, I think that that would be a fine idea.
Okay. Kai, do you have anything to add?
I mean, Kai is perfectly happy to equip these kids if they volunteer to gain some additional combat capabilities.
Be fodder, you mean?
Change irrevocably? You'd have to ask them some dark night, when you're on watch and not falling asleep.
I'm sure they'll volunteer.
Mm-hmm. So he's all for going south, away from the witch baya.
Yes. I understand Ambria to be south, and that is where I'm supposed to be going.
Okay. Lothar, it looks like, Hagan, this new man, Boru, and his Bjorn, and Kai and the Colossi are going to go with the Wrath Guards. What does Lothar say in the end when he doesn't want to necessarily have his secret found out?
Well, keeping up with that, I'll just, go with the group and hopefully, nothing comes about it.
Kill all the Saars before they let it loose?
Probably have to, yeah.
All right.
At least all the ones in this area.
So it's about, probably 4:30 in the morning. You could just maybe see a little bit of gray light if you're not in the forest, but you're obviously in Davokar. But the trail that goes south past Jakar towards Thistlehold is pretty easy to follow. It's the main trail between Carvosi and southern Ambria. And the Wrath Guards lead out with the company, Kai and the Colossi, Lothar and Honeybee the horse, Boru and his Bjorn, Honeybee. I'm going to get that messed up again. I keep doing it. And
Just did.
I know.
Meant
And
Butterby the horse.
Butterby the horse, and Hagan and Guttorm. And you're tracking through the night, and then Arona raises her hand to have the group stop, and she's kind of standing there, and she just waves you forward, and you see, obvious boot prints and tracks of a big group that's just moved this way, and then they kind of stop, and there's kind of a milling, and then one group goes to the right in the forest, and the other group goes to the left in the forest. The group to the right, smaller number perhaps, it looks like, and lighter on their feet. And the group that went to the left, a little bit larger number, bigger boots, heavier tread, and they leave the trail and kind of separate. Lothar, as you're looking at these tracks, and Arona kind of looks at you because you're on your horseback, Monavar, the witch guard, goes, this doesn't look good. It looks like they have split for some reason. Why would they do that? Rona looks at him and, taps his sword with her hand, as if it's obvious. Lothar, what do you do as you see this split kind of trail?
I don't think I really do anything, although I probably mention, it seems odd that they would split. And the smaller group probably has something, normally use smaller groups to do something specific in tactics in war. Probably a flanking maneuver of some kind. Might behoove us to follow the smaller group.
Yeah, Rona kind of shakes her head. Seems to make sense. The smaller group. And Monavar looks up at you, Lothar, and says, what would they be attacking here along the trail?
I have no idea, as we don't know their intent or purpose, but it is awfully weird.
Hagan, as you are kind of listening to this, the kind of children had told you why they're searching for their two others. What does Hagan do as they kind of reach this split track of this large group? You're muted, by the way. Hagan, are you there? I lost him for a minute.
Yeah.
So
Man down.
So you reach this split group. Lothar says perhaps we follow the smaller group. Maybe they're involved in some sort of tactics. Yegvena kind of pipes up and says, they're trying to find two of their own who are, they're kind of trying to find a caravan and bring back information. Well, they were trying. It's not that we rob everyone, she says. And what would the group do at this split track? Lothar's sense is to follow the smaller trail. Arona, the Wrathguard, seems that sounds like a good idea. Does anyone else have any comments about which track to follow, or whether they just continue straight along the trail?
Kai would. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Kai is going to be no help and continue to promote the idea of going south and leaving these pesky human troubles to other people to deal with, because humans are always trouble.
So Kai
It's
wants
not
to
obvious.
say
Kai doesn't have a lot of social skills. And
He hasn't been-
perfectly willing to slag off the.
he hasn't been out of the
species
Hall
he's
of a Thousand
surrounded by.
Tears very often. So he wants to continue along the path then.
Yes, but
Okay.
it's not. I have to do this. This is the only option for Kai. It's do we have to take a sidetrack?
Hagan, you are going to offer.
Yeah. I say, I don't think we should follow the smaller band. That's not challenging enough for me. And I look to Lothar.
Look to Lothar.
Yeah, where were you when I was facing down 6 freaking barbarians playing with children?
No, we were
Murdering
defeating
a
a
woman.
witch. We were defeating a witch.
Yes, an old lady. By her lonesome.
Yes, some old ladies are dangerous.
Well, I'm sure
Very
Kai can
dangerous.
attest to that.
Very, very dangerous.
You attacked a witch? You should not do that. That is not wise.
Boru, Hagan says the small trail isn't challenging enough. Which is a pretty strong statement. What does Boru feel like? You got this small track, the low track. Kai doesn't really, he's ambivalent. Lothar, says maybe we follow the smaller track because it's a thing. And Hagan the Ambrian, oddly enough, non-barbarian, bucks up and says, no, we need to follow this big track. That's where all the action is. What does Boru add?
Well, do you know who you're trailing? Do you know anything about these people?
The Wrathguard Monovar says, we suspect they're the same Saars that are dressed as Odavians for who knows what bad
And
reason.
there's 2 groups of them? Or do you just think there's 2 groups of them?
Oh, that split on the trail?
Yeah.
I think the trail is obvious. Like, it looks like the group milled around in this area. It's trampled down and then a small group goes to the right and a larger group. Like, the trail is easy to see, Boru. You can see that they separate. They come together here, and there's a period where they're all here milling around, and then they separate into a smaller group that goes to the right and a larger group that goes to the left. They leave the trail, and you can kind of see
but
that.
Is the small trail, did they try to disguise it better and just failed? Or
No, I don't
they
think.
not even seem to try to hide it?
Nope, it doesn't look like they tried to hide it at all. It just looks like smaller tracks.
Okay.
Smaller
simply
people,
say-
smaller people, that sort of thing.
It seems to me that this other group that split off was not trying to set up an ambush. So they made their trail too well known, unless they're trying to ambush a destination and not followers, people following them. My guess is either this one group decided to not join with whatever this other big group is doing and leave, or they're trying to flank a position. Either way, my guess is no matter which one we follow, we'll likely end up meeting both eventually. But the question is, is it better for us to assault the main crew and have the reinforcements possibly nearby, or is it better to squash a small crew and let the bigger crew be the reinforcements? Depends on whether you like to be fighting something when a new group enters, or whether you just want to be done and turn to the new group and face them head on. Whichever you prefer is which way we should go.
Okay. So the choices are small trail, big trail, or just go down don't leave the trail at all. What would be the group's consensus?
Well,
Trail.
we got
Lots
one
of votes has never gone wrong before.
right. Split it down the middle. We'll take them all on at the same time. Why not, right? We got a Colossi.
Okay. So Lothar, you want to just not follow either the right or left trail, but just continue on the road south towards the path south, figuring that they're going to meet up somewhere along the trail. Is that good with everyone? Or do you want to split? Which I don't mind.
I'm sure you
no.
do.
Right.
No, we are not doing that.
There you go, Gene, with your gene tricks.
I'm just laying out the options.
I think if these two groups are coordinating a flanking maneuver, it is very likely the bigger group is going to start the attack first, and thus I think we should go after the bigger group. And if they attack something, come in from behind and, scatter their forces a little. So I vote the big group.
Gene, do we have an idea of the size of each group as they broke off? I mean, does it look like a dozen versus a half dozen, or?
Well, Kai had counted the group somewhere between 15 and 20. You know that that there's many more that go to the left. Just the size of the trail. You think it's maybe 70-30, if you had to guess. Maybe 10 went to the left and 5 went to the right. You could probably see that. Like the trails, not only is the left side, bigger feet, more people.
Yeah.
Is, it's obvious that, if you looked around at different footprints, and you wouldn't really need, I don't have you make a roll for that, but you could probably say, looks like maybe there's 10 or 11 that went to the left, and 5.
Right. So kind of like double, like 12 and 6.
Right.
Like double the amount went to the left.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, let's go left.
Okay. So leftward. Anyone not gonna follow them while they go left?
We'll go left.
Go left. All right.
None of us are foolish enough to fall for your tricks. Oh, malicious GM.
I was like, when you were like, hold action. All right.
It's like, go ahead, split up the party.
So they're going left after this bigger trail. You kind of duck into the forest of Davokar, and it's pretty easy to follow. The sounds of crickets and hooting owls and birds, they obviously quiet down, and then it gets really quiet. Really, really quiet. I need one person to roll a cunning check. Whoever's
Who
first.
wants to be smart?
Can we have Guttorm roll it?
No. Okay, Kai rolls it. Kai, you're trailing through the forest, and you see some figures. You kind of loop around. You go into the forest kind of deep, and then you kind of turn southward a little bit and maybe parallel the road or the trail almost. And then it cuts back in towards the trail, and you're kind of walking through these trees, and you hear horses in the distance, and voices as you're moving through the trees, and you know that the path south and north is probably in front of you about 200 yards, 200 meters, or 800 meters, give or take. And you kind of hear horses. What does the group do?
Purely for the point of reference, Kai is riding Coloss to his back again.
Okay.
On the little pseudo platform that he and Guttorm have put together.
Okay.
Let's pick up our pace, shall we?
Who's in the lead?
Obviously Hagan.
Obviously, Hagan.
I am.
It was your idea. Besides, you're the slowest walker.
Hagan, you're in the lead then?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I am.
Roll me a vigilant first, and then I'm gonna have you roll a discreet. I'm gonna modify.
Straight up.
Yeah, roll a straight up vigilant test. Oh, you failed that. And roll.
Let's see.
Roll a discreet. Your discreet is terrible.
Yes,
No.
it is.
Yes, it is.
I rolled 2 18s. That's
Yeah,
there's
you
some
rolled 2
consistency
18.
there.
All right. Let me get the map together. Who is after Hagan? Who's
Marching
second?
order.
Yeah, who's second? Roughly.
Probably the new guy.
The
Sure.
FNG.
Bor, are you?
We'll be in second with Honeybee.
Yeah. And then our kind of put low. Kai, are you in the back?
Apparently, I would have chosen to go third, because at the back I'm also vulnerable to being ambushed.
Okay.
I need my meat shield on either side of me. But I suppose there is a Colossus to protect us.
Right. All right, Hagan, you are noisy, and I don't know, maybe you trip or you lose your balance a little bit, and you're watching the ground and trying to make it out of these trees and this kind of bigger rocks as you're approaching. You hear horses in the distance, and then you hear a grunt as you walk past this rock. This big, huge boulder. You see close, like 3 wagons, and you arrive just as the attack starts, Hagan. But you're obviously noticed, and walk right kind of into them. I'm gonna put you on the map here.
I mean, that makes a little bit more sense because we were kind of moving with haste. So
Yeah. The cunning
weren't-
roll was to
weren't-
see like if you arrived before or after or the event.
Mhm.
And you made the cunning roll. It's just a matter of you kind of walked right into it because of your
Right.
vigilant and then discreet. I didn't know his discreet was so bad.
Neither did we. He
Right.
was shockingly subtle about it.
Why don't we take like a 5-minute break before we start this part? So you can get a drink, go to the bathroom, that sort of thing. And then I'll set you all up, okay?
More in our characters. Got it.
More in your characters, yeah.
Here.
All right.
Present.
So I will set up what happens as Hagan goes stumbling through the forest. Hagan, you're out in front. Bodru and the bear honeybee are behind you. Honeybee's quieter than you, and Yavena's, almost laying across his big fat head with her arms around there and nuzzling his, ears because they're soft and fluffy. And Kathun has decided rather he'd walk. Being on the bears made him a little nervous. He may reach over and touch it now and then, but Yevena is the one who's adventurous, and behind them is Lothar and Butterbee the horse. Guttorm and Kai and the Colossi are, tucked into the forest a little bit. Lothar and Butterbee is kind of coming out into this thing. Hagan, as you kind of round this big boulder, there's this kind of, grunt, like surprise grunt, and this huge barbarian warrior stands up. You look out in front of you and you see, just at the same time you hear arrow shot from in front of you, and then a cry of alarm. You don't really have much time, but you see barbarians in front of you rise up out of the forest around the edge and behind rocks and trees, and then start rushing this caravan. You're in front of maybe the last one, you walk right past as this happens.
So basically, their party is surprised, and so are we, because they were focused on like the ambush.
Right. The only two that are really going to act this round are you and the warrior. Kind of a separate surprise round for Hagan and the warrior. You kind of surprise each other. Hagan's roll is terrible, but you walk right up with him, and you and the warrior are kind of going to go in combat first, just for one round, or at least see what happens, and then we'll go to the others, and it gets to go first. And so, anyone have any questions about the setup?
Yeah. Can I tell what clans these barbarians are from? Because I've been led to believe they're probably Saars.
They're dressed they're dressed as Odavians. Like Boru, you can tell like clans are dressed, even if they're their clothes are just slightly different. The weave is different, the colors they like,
Sure.
And so these look like Odavians. They also look like exactly dressed as the dead Odavians that you inspected outside the camp over the bridge of the Malgamar.
Can I see any like blood stains or cuts on their clothes that look like they, haven't been
too dark. They look healthy and hale. Like you're right next to Hagan as he enters combat, and you can't really. They're attacking and rushing this group of Ambrians in front of you.
Right, which I'm for, totally for that. Which is why I'm trying to figure out which team I'm on.
Right, Boro. I think you would know that they are dressed as Odavians. You've just seen.
I've been told they're Saars,
right.
So this would make me think they're the dirty, double-wearing jackass Saars.
Right. That would be a reasonable.
I'm still inclined to think attacking the Ambrians feels like a good time.
You would. Ooh, how did that happen? I accidentally took them out. You would probably think that these are not Odavians. I mean,
okay.
That
Okay, I'm looking to try to justify my character's like what is his reaction going to be? Which team?
Sure.
Is he really doesn't care for Ambrians typically, but other than that, he's not a barbarian clans of any of the clans represented, but he doesn't have an issue with most clans. He doesn't like that the Saars like to dress up in, play dress up. That bothers him. Like, if you want to make war with the Ambrians, just be an Ambrian, or just be a, Saar. Like, have the balls to be who you are. Okay.
I kind of acknowledge that the Ambrians aren't going to be able to tell the difference.
Right.
Look,
they're not.
Regardless of the racist Ambrians, who I'm absolutely all for killing them. I just want to justify why I'm willing to kill other barbarians on top of that.
So Hagan, the guardsman, is surprised by you, and you're surprised by the guardsman, but you two enter combat before much of anything else has started, and he's going to try to hit you with his giant double axe.
Ooh.
Oh, he misses. He had this huge double axe, like probably just he had just stood up to maybe rush in with the other ones, and then all of a sudden Hagan the Amrin's right there, and it catches him completely off guard, and he half-heartedly swings his axe at you because he has no idea why you're there in the first place, and it dives into the ground at your feet and kicks up dirt, and he wrenches it out. What does Hagan do?
He's gonna blast him with Black Bolt.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Maybe not.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I think
it's supposed to be set up for only one corruption, so I'll fix that.
Maybe you take 2 because you rolled a natural 20.
Do you want me to take 2?
No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
I'm saying, do you want me to?
You might need your time. Does Hagan do anything else?
Not if I'm in melee range to this guy.
No, you are.
I'm gonna get attacked.
I'm gonna throw everyone in initiative. Just give me a second.
Want us to put ourselves up there?
No, I got it. It'll just roll, and then I'm gonna move everything around so that.
It's a lot of dice.
I know.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
We're gonna run I'm gonna mime the other. If it's not combat with you guys directly, but
it's cinematic.
Right.
You're gonna just resolve it cinematically.
Or see who's up and where they are and that sort of thing.
So,
just to give me an idea.
Generic question: What is Guan?
What is that big thing? You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know yet, Kai, because you don't see it.
I'm on top of a colossus. I probably have a bird's eye view of a lot
You're
of
kind of
this.
tucked into that forest, but let's say maybe you can sort of see it, sort of, kind of, maybe. But for the group and Hagan are described the caravan. The one in the front and then the one in the back are covered wagons. The one in the middle is a wagon that looks like it has strapped down this big beast. I'll throw a picture of it for you so you can kind of look at it. It looks like a giant kind of beast, has a huge kind of four-armed body that's covered in, long kind of dark hair, and its mouth ends in this number of tendrils. You can't really see if it has eyes. You don't really see that or notice it has eyes. As Hagan and battle commences and the warriors and the barbarians rush and scream, it tries to rise from the wagon itself, but it's chained down to the wagon on 4 points, and that's what it looks like. It's probably 15 to 18 feet long. Its body itself is more bulbous or round instead of muscular, and its legs are smaller, but they're still pretty big. You can't really necessarily see it, but it has this huge kind of claws, and that head with these kind of softer tentacles, and that's what you see. That's what a Guan is, Kai. Good enough?
Good enough?
Good enough. All right. Let me go to the initiative. You don't see them, Hagan, Boru, Lothar, and Kai, but you hear it. You hear arrows fly through the air. You don't see any archers on the Ambrian side, and you see some of them turn and move away, but you hear screams and arrow shots, and but you don't even see arrows from your side. I don't expect, but you may see arrow flight on the other side of the wagons, but some of you may not really see that. You just hear them in the distance, and you hear screams and of battle and injuries from those arrows after you hear them come out. Lothar, you're on top of Butterby, and you see barbarians in front of you. You probably see one of them attack Hagan and miss. The other ones don't really turn around. They just rush forward. What does Lothar do?
Nothing like the enemy giving your back to them as I charge towards Hagan's guy that he stumbled on.
Okay. Yeah.
These guys, they're traveling with us, right?
Right. Those are the Wrath Guards.
Okay.
That's a
No,
Ronin.
that's what I see on the initiative. I just want to confirm that. I thought that's who they were, but I
Yeah.
wanted to confirm that that's.
I
I'm
added
like, oh,
them.
great, we've got people behind us. Yay.
Now, your
Of course
horse,
I miss.
right? Single-handed, precise. Right. You didn't need that much. I don't know if being on horseback, I would think would give you advantage next time. You're higher than them, running them down. I haven't looked at the horseback rules, but
The being higher is just a regular thing. I didn't think about that.
yeah, just a
I guess
plus two.
it depends on you if you count it as being higher on horseback.
Mhm. Yeah, it depends on how you're fighting. Like if you're stuck there right here and you're not moving, then it's probably not advantage because you don't have speed and height above the warrior. If you charge them you move, I think I would give it to you because you're running them down and you are on horseback, so you're quite a bit taller than they are. Okay, so
Do you have the equestrian ability at all?
yeah, he does.
Okay.
Yeah, Lothar, probably that big boulder just throws you and Butterby off. You try to round it, but your spear just, slides across a boulder and misses somehow. Boru, you're behind Hagan with Honeybee, and you see it all happen at once. You hear the bowstring and arrow shots come from further in front of you. You hear, battle commence. You also hear this kind of roar from whatever this thing is in the front of you. What does Boru and Honeybee do?
Boru is disappointed that this Lothar character moved faster than he would have.
But he is attacking a barbarian. I mean, you could just bypass Adrian and just join in the fun.
I know, but the thing that disappointed me is he took the position I was going to take.
Right.
So I'll move to here. And I up the guy's double axe and grin to myself and then smack him with my big axe. Or try to, at least. Here we go. Big axe. Oh, that's right. It wants me to choose a target. Of course it does. Big axe.
Draw. What happens?
Why are you hitting me?
Yeah, you choose the wrong person.
Oh.
But that's okay. Why did you attack Lothar? You could.
Because I'm mixed up with who's who and still. Sorry about that.
You can. Let's see what you rolled. A 14.
It
Oh,
takes
you
a
rolled
lot
it.
to recognize these things.
You rolled a 10. I don't think you.
Yeah,
You
I
missed.
beat it by. So I don't like. What is these guys' defense modifier? Is what, a 3?
For protection.
For the guy that Lothar
-3.
attacked, it's a 3
-3.
apparently.
Yeah, -3.
So I would have hit because I had a 4-point difference between my roll and my.
Okay. Just
roll.
roll your damage, and I will just take it off.
Okay.
I know what his protection is.
His protection, it turns out, isn't going to matter.
Oh, okay.
I have 2-weapon force master, so I just ignore his armor.
So you do 5 total.
Yep.
Okay. What happens as you just barely miss Lothar?
I just come in with a, it's kind of a chaotic thing, so I come with an overhand shot to the guy, to his shoulder, figuring I can either, maybe lop an arm off or, at least make him possibly numb his arm so he drops the axe that he's got. That's a big axe.
Right. What does Honeybee do as you enter combat?
Okay, so Honeybee,
You
acts a little bit slower than I do, so...
It's probably because Yegven is yelling, "Go! Go!"
Okay. So Honeybee is going to berserk and slip in and attack the same person everybody else is attacking.
Oh, yeah, I'd make that advantage by that point. You guys got him surrounded. Like, this one barbarian realizes I shouldn't have been in the rear.
I really should have stayed behind that rock.
Bad idea.
It's something hopefully Lothar doesn't realize in this fight. So he's going to back a mole. Or try. Ooh, yeah, there he goes.
6. All right. So Honeybee, is he noisy when he fights, or he just rolls in?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why it gave me a D8. It should have been, I think it should be a D6, and it didn't.
What
'cause of
level
berserk.
natural weapon?
He's only got the base level of natural weapon. He's got an extra D4 because of Iron Fist, and he should have an extra D something because of Berserk, but it didn't seem to. Weirdly enough, it gave him a better die type for the D8, but didn't add his extra D4 for Berserk for some reason. Even though I activated Berserk, and it should have. Maybe I didn't click on the right thing when I was attacking. I don't know. But yeah, he gives a growl. He gives a big old swipe. He's not much of a biter at the moment. He might, bite them eventually, but he's more of a swatter initially.
Yeah, I don't know why it has 1d6 for his claw, so I'm not certain why it
Right,
rolled.
and I double checked. Right, I double checked that, and it was fine. But it's because the having berserk doesn't increase your die. It gives you like an extra d6, and
Yeah, so that should have been 2d6.
so it should have been
plus
2d6, a d4, and a d4. But it was a d8, and it might be. Let me see what happens if I click his attack mode again, because maybe I forgot to. It might have been something I forgot to click. So Iron Fist, ignore armor, advantage. Okay, yeah. Sorry. In another game I play, it automates berserk. Like when you click the berserk and trigger it, it automatically. And it's a Foundry game, so this must just be a different version.
Yeah, it should
some
work.
of the modules.
We're figured out.
No, it's apparently. I don't understand why it did the D8 for the damage roll, but other than that, I had to actually add it myself for the berserker. So that's why it didn't do D6. So it should. Let's see. I rolled a 5 on the D8. So what it should have rolled is this -5. So it should have rolled
4.
Should have rolled 4 instead of 5, I think.
That's okay. We'll just see how it works and then.
No, not -5. Sorry, the initial. Yeah, so it should just have added 4 damage. So instead of enduring 6, he should have endured 10.
Or I leave him stand for the moment. I don't think he's.
Yeah, I'll see if I can
long.
fix the base damage. Maybe if I drop it down.
The
like
guardsmen, the warriors up front, they have no idea what's happened behind, and they just attack. 2 of them obviously are close enough to hear battle behind them and are caught off guard, and they turn around towards Hagaan and Boru. One attacks Boru and one attacks Hagaan as they reposition. They make a terrible effort at trying to tell that somehow they must have got surrounded, but it's impossible for them, and they just enter combat with their group. One attacks Boru.
What?
You don't have
Okay,
any. You don't have any.
Because
You
it
started
did
at
it.
0.
Yeah, this happened last time. The last game
And
I played.
you don't have
Gene,
any.
it's the same thing.
You don't have any armor on.
Oh, I don't know why it didn't.
Let me look at your gear.
I'm wearing it. It should be.
Oh, it just says no armor on Boru.
You
Like you
wearing
haven't-
it, or is it equipped?
It
has
is
to be
equipped. Oh, sorry. Yeah, never mind. It is equipped, no armor. I forgot to. I saw that something was there and just assumed it was light armor because pretty much everybody starts with light armor. But yeah, that's my bad. Sorry.
That's okay. You could add it, and then I'll have you roll your armor by itself.
Light armor. And then go like that and switch. So I'll just manually roll
Yeah,
the light
just-
armor and then subtract it from 9.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I take 5
5.
damage.
And the other one attacks Hagaan. Oh, Hagaan. I thought he missed at first, but I forgot that the roll is for your armor, not his attack. I gotta. Yeah, Hagaan, you just feel this raking of an axe across your back. You're kind of engaged. The bear kind of comes in towards you, you see Lothar and Boru engage the one that you suddenly startled, and the battle starts, in front of you towards the caravans. Hagan, can you roll me a 1d4?
Oh, yeah.
And while he's doing that, Kai, you're on the Colossi.
Yep.
What do you have the Colossi do with its...
It is going to start lumbering forward.
Okay.
It will do 2 movement actions because it can't. Let me double check. Yeah. When it attacks. Yeah. Oh yeah, it can't.
How far do you have it go?
It is going to move the 2 of us like around these trees just ahead of us to block off the caravan because I am not a
over
friendly.
here. Now the caravan is...
Yeah, it's moving in that direction. So
Okay.
probably halfway there.
All right. Noted. So you start moving through the trees. You tell the Colossi to move through the trees, not engage. It goes lumbering through Davokar. It gets thick there because, you got this little spit of the meadow that everyone has kind of entered. And you and Kai and the Colossi move through the trees to try to get to the front of the caravan. Guttorm is in the back. He will probably angle a little bit and try to shoot the one that's with Hagan that he can see really well. Guttorm's in the back, and you hear this little hoot. Whoa! After he fires his bow, and he puts down the one in front of Hagan, the one that he surprised. He's going to claim that kill for himself. And Hagan, you see that one that you surprised go down with an arrow in its neck. It was hit by Boru and the bear, but, Guttorm did the deed. What does Hagan do? You're muted, by the way, if you're talking.
Bo is still muted. Yeah.
Hagan, you there? I know he was. All right. Kai, roll a d20. The Ambrians that are being attacked seem to be fairly well made. One of the guard warriors dies. You hear, shouts from a couple others, and they seem to be pushing the barbarians who are attacking them back away from the trail. The giant Gowan in the middle, rises up, and one of the chains snaps from the front, and it kind of the cart tips a little bit just as its weight, because suddenly that kind of chain snaps, but it's still kind of battened down against the cart itself, and the battle kind of rages on in front of you. Kai, you're kind of up in the forest. You lose sight of everything as the Colossi is moving. I don't expect there's anything you can do where you are, but do you do anything as you're moving through the forest and kind of lose sight?
I want that Panzer or the Guam to stay chained down. So I am going to curse the fuck out of it.
You might be able to see it, I think, through the trees. It'd be hard, but you could try to curse it.
Yeah, I can't select my token, so I.
Oh, you have to probably move. There we go. You got to move the other.
Yeah,
one.
I couldn't deselect. Like,
there you go. Try that.
the two of them were like completely combined.
Right.
There we go. I'll move myself to the hex above it, just so that I sit nicely with the things. Please stop doing well.
All right.
I need you to stay chained up if I'm going to enslave it.
You do that, and the Ambrians go. The archers, you hear archer fire and hear arrows flying through the air. You can kind of look up on past the caravans now, because there's like a campfire that's right here in the center, and you can kind of see the arrows. So you can kind of see where those archers are, and they take down a Ambrian. You kind of see him fall with arrows in it. You see a kind of central figure, and he reaches out and pulls out something from one of the wagons, and you see him pull this black mask over his face, if you're looking up that direction, and then he places something around his neck and seems to turn it for some reason. Kai, make a discreet roll for the Colossi.
Oh, for the Colossi, that's not good.
All right, no discreet roll. So what happens is, Boru, Hagan, and Lothar, you see it, but Kai doesn't really. He's concentrating on this this huge beast in the thing, and this man right here, kind of fair, he disappears for a moment. You see him here, and he strikes out at this guard warrior, and then you see him disappear again. It's like you're blinking. You blink, he's there. You blink, he's gone. You blink, he's gone. There, then he's behind this guard warrior. You blink, and then he's gone in front of the Colossi. And he almost looks like he attacks all three of them in the blink of 3 or 4 blinks of your eye as he moves through. Everyone make a resolute save. If you don't make your resolute save, you take 2 temporary corruption.
Everyone?
Right, everyone.
Okay.
You just feel this wave of power as that mask he has on flares a little bit around the edges, and he snaps in and out of vision and kind of just all of a sudden is between these things. And that, and it kind of blossoms out from him as he's jumping around the battlefield. Almost looks like, he wasn't there, and then he's behind you, Hagen, and then he's all of a sudden in front of the Colossi. He kind of disappears from their view, and he attacks the Colossi. He just kind of rakes this sword across the Colossi. Kai, all of a sudden you're riding that Colossi and you're looking at the Guan, and then there's this figure right in front of you. And he strikes out at the Colossi, and then he disappears from view.
Oh, the bastard.
Lothar, what do you do as the barbarian in front of you is dispatched by Guttorm. The battle's kind of raging around you. You see this huge beast trying to break free of his chains.
I think Lothar takes a minute to consider the battlefield and goes, I'm not even sure who we're attacking now. Like, who are we helping? Like, are we killing them all? Ah, damn it. Fuck it. And then I'll charge this. Who is that right there? Guard warrior down in the middle.
Right here? Or that's... Yeah, I think
Okay.
you could probably move past them with your horse, equestrian.
Oh, if not, that's fine. If you're saying I can't move past them, that's fine. I'll stay there and I would have to move up. Can I go to the right or can I go to the...
No, you're fine. I would let you do that. It's okay.
Okay.
I gotta take the dead off of Boru there. Whew. So do you put him...
I'll just do another attack.
All right. I assume you like stab him with your lance and he stays on his feet. How does that happen, Lothar?
Oh, I imagine, at a full charge, there's not too much people can stand to. I just
Right.
hit him square in the back, and then as I pull it out, I just kind of poke him real quick again, right in the same spot.
He can't even see you're coming because he's engaged with the Ambrians in front of you.
Poor bastard.
You run him down. Butterbee's ears are flat and as lathered. He's breathing heavy, but he's kind of prancing around as you like stab him, and then maybe he like circles around, giving you a little bit of momentum to stab him the second time. What does Honeybee and Boru do?
Okay. Well,
Wonder-
first Boru is gonna.
I wonder why you fell off of the initiative for some reason.
I don't, because you killed.
Because he's dead.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, 'cause I was dead.
I put you back on.
Okay.
I'm looking for you. Going, where is he? Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna swing at the jackass nearby. Armor, we're not at advantage.
Now, do you want him to go prone, or you want to take your second attack?
No, I'm taking the second shot.
Okay.
The last one is for this guy to hit me again.
You hit him once, maybe you're making a backswing. But not quite enough, Boru.
Oh, that should have been 6 more because I
6 more, 'cause
apparently forgot to click ignore armor.
You forgot, yeah. You would kill him with that. You would dispatch him with, or make him dead. What do you do, Boru? How does that look?
I just, turn to face him and give him a swat to the hip, and he begins to buckle over. And as he's buckling, I bring it up into his chest and lift him off the ground a little bit. And he's not living when he comes back to the ground.
Yeah, you split open like his chainmail and his armor and his coverings, and it kind of flaps over. You see that he has a partially burned off Saar tattoo through the blood, even though he's dressed as Odavian as you're standing there. What does Honeybee do?
Hold on. Before that, can I take this guy's double axe as my move action, or does that require an action?
No, I'd let you do that.
Okay, so I'm going to grab his double axe.
Okay.
Because it's better than my garbage axe.
Sure. Yeah, you can take his double.
Honey.
Gumption.
You could pull a double axe over on there. That's reasonable.
Okay, So, Honeybee is going to come over here and, I guess, try to help Hagan a little bit. I don't know if he likes Hagan yet. He's kind of undecided. Hagan's an Ambrian. Honeybee doesn't like Ambrians, generally speaking, but, you know, you never can tell. So he doesn't ignore armor. He's... Six and iron fisting.
Why did you?
Honeybee
Oh
attacked Honeybee.
crap! Sorry, yeah, honey.
Back yourself.
It would have been a miss because I clicked to move him, and then that clicked both
right.
the thing and the.
Okay, so he missed. Just take his damage off.
Yeah,
Honeybee hurt itself in its confusion.
he did. He did.
Yegvena's just on holding on with one hand, you know, screaming, "Get him, Honeybee! Get him!" She's barely, you can barely see her. Like she has probably her arms around his head and just holding on, peeking out on the other side, but she's not letting go through this whole thing. Hagan, roll a d20 for me. Oh, I rolled for Honeybee anyways. All right. The guard warriors kind of double up. They seem to push back against the attacking barbarians, and you see two of the Ambrians go down as they start to move forward. See who is next. Hagan, what do you do as you're standing next to Honeybee who attacks the Ambrian next to you?
I'm going to make an attempt at a black bolt again.
Okay. All right. So you
And
black.
then I can,
Go ahead.
yeah, remember I can chain it. So I figure
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
in my sight. So this
Yeah.
one next.
Yeah, I think you could see all that front line. That's not really that hard.
Of course, if I could roll better damage.
So you just see this bolt of
Such is life.
magic hit that one in front and then arc over or through Lothar and Butterby and hit this other one that you're successful, and you can keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Ching ching. Yeah, I think that would be the last one you could really see. You can't
Yeah,
really see the
yeah.
archers and
Nice. Can I double that because it was a 1?
now you reached your threshold.
I don't think I'm supposed to take.
No, after the
Corruption
first
for each
initial
shot.
use, you shouldn't. Right, it's for
No.
the first shot because it's a chain thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a single cast, and you just carry on making.
Yeah. So you just
Loot
take.
So I should have 3 temporary from last time.
One. Yeah, so you would only lose
So
Good.
Joe,
4.
next time. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say next time before you do that, if you know you're gonna chain it, you can select multiple targets. So maybe you
Oh, I
don't have to
can?
roll. Yeah, you just
Huh.
click the target button, left click drag over the number that you want to do, and you'll select them all.
Do I?
Well,
Okay.
no, because you carry on chaining up until it fails, so
Correct.
it's a
Correct.
fresh roll for each one.
What you needed, unfortunately, what you kind of need to do is, as soon as you get new temporary corruption for each successive bolt, you need to kind of pay attention to what the first one was, and
That's 4.
like start erasing the
Well,
second and third and
it
fourth
doesn't
and fifth
matter
one.
because I only get 1 from the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right, but you
Yeah.
have to pay attention to, because it says that you got 4 for the very first one you set off. So I don't know why it should be 1 instead of 4, but regardless.
It's adept rank thing. making it 1 temporary corruption
Yeah.
with power. Or...
That doesn't work
Or
for
strong-
sorcery.
Oh no, sorcery is a strong gift that you've got Black Bolt for.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so
Yep.
strong. Yes. Yeah, that's weird because you can't. Yeah, I did it with strong gift with a theocracy power once. I actually gave myself theocracy level 2 just to give it the 1 temporary corruption. You can't cheese it with sorcery though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not at your threshold anyways. I think you already fixed it.
I fixed it.
Yeah. Because when I'm looking at your sheet, it looks fine. So what does that look like as you string that bolt across all of them?
I think this might. I'm trying to think if this is Hagen's first time that he's been successful in a chain attack.
No.
Oh, this.
You
I
remember
said,
the last time?
yeah.
Last time I did.
Yeah. You've gotten off once before.
It almost looks like a high velocity arrow, but it's just full of darkness. And I don't think it would string along. I think it would, leave my hand or my finger to each target. It wouldn't. You know what I mean? It wouldn't look like something like chain lightning or anything.
Oh, it would leave in separate different points.
Yeah, each time I would be like,
Yeah.
hey, shoot this one, shoot this one, shoot this one, and it would be in quick succession.
Okay. And they're all paralyzed for a round.
They're all paralyzed automatically for this round.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if one of them succeeds, then all of them succeed the next round.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Now that they're paralyzed, does Hagen do anything? He still has his movement action.
Yeah, he's going to back off.
Okay. All right. You
Now, I
move.
noticed you didn't hit any Ambrians with that. That seems a little racist to me.
You think? I'm a little concerned hanging around with a sorcerer, Ambrine sorcerer, no less.
Right. Boru, you're
You
standing.
guys should roll a vigilant to see who exactly I targeted.
I think Boru would see it. Like, it comes out, like, attacking his own barbarians.
Yeah, he's right next to me.
Right. You
That's it. I'm done.
see the fair-haired man like materialize as Hagen's bolt, attacks. I must have more than one. Oh, I do. You see him materialize, and he attacks one of the ones that Hagen paralyzed, really. And he doesn't go, but you just see him like stab him through, and then you see him jump again. You blink, and all of a sudden he's standing right next to where Hagen used to be, and he attacks that one. And misses, and Boru, make a discreet roll.
I laugh at your request.
Oh, you made it.
Hey!
Right, I was just deciding if he was going to attack you because you look like a barbarian next to a wrath guard. But I don't think that will happen. I think he will jump again. He moves again to the... You don't really see where he goes, but you blink Boru and he's suddenly gone again. Everyone make a resolute check as this man is obviously blinking to different parts of the battlefield. Every time he hits the ground, you feel this kind of black power wash over the area where you are. If you fail, you take one temporary corruption. No one failed. Look at that. Everyone passed.
Was it 1 last time too?
No, it was 2.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was 2
So
last
he's
time.
rolling a dice and exploding it outwards.
Right. And we go back to the top to
No, we
Lothar.
don't.
Oh no, wait, Kai, what do you do? My fault. Kai and the Colossi. I did forget you.
You skipped us both.
I know. I'm just having you move together because
Okay. Okay, so that's no longer impacting that one, but I don't care anymore.
oh, you lost.
This,
Okay.
I lost it on him. He can go fuck himself now.
Oh, you cursed the guy who's jumping around.
Yes,
Okay, I could think you could do that. As
because
he's
he had
moving.
capacity
Right.
to attack Colossus. There is an awkward deal with massive monsters.
Uh-huh.
The Colossus can't move and attack in the same turn,
Ah.
and just no one is coming up to me other than that guy.
Because you're in the middle of the forest. You're in like the trees right there. He came
Yeah.
over to you because he saw the Colossus. He's figuring that the Colossus is going to come in, but then you like stopped. No one
Well,
can break through.
He's stopped there.
Right.
Okay. We are going to double check this. Okay. Target has. Yep. We're going after that guy. He had.
I think you could see him. I think you could feel him move around. I think you know he's ducked behind them. And you're pretty high on the Colossi, so you might be able to see him past the covered wagon. You cursed
Yeah,
him,
there's
though.
not. Yeah, I told it to go die.
Uh-huh.
Colossus wants to step on his head. So I think Colossus is going to move all the way to here.
Okay.
With the intent of just hitting that guy eventually. He's blinking around too much.
Right. The Colossi is a big target, so
The Colossus hasn't hit anyone.
no.
It has done nothing. It's just vibed.
He attacked the Colossus because he figures that the Colossus is in league with the barbarians, which is a suitable, idea.
If I was on the other side, I'd attack it just because I saw it.
Right. No one can get through, and now, they're going to attack it now because they don't have anything else. These aren't moving. They see
Right.
this huge Colossus come in play.
I would have gone over the wagon, but I assume that wasn't valid terrain.
No, it would have
would have
taken
gone
you at
there.
least. Yeah. I don't think you could go over the wagon. You have to go all the way around it.
Do you know what? It has to, its movement, double move, because it can't move and attack, so might as well double move.
Okay.
Could I go around the wagon?
You could end up here. Yeah, like you're coming from right here and going around. I mean, you could probably get right next to him.
Oh, I'll definitely go right next to it.
All right. So you move over. Lothar, I think you haven't been with Hagan long enough, but I think it's obvious these barbarians are rigid. You probably see the crackling of magic around them. They're just kind of standing there, almost shivering a little bit as the magic is holding them. What does Lothar do?
I think I whirl around on Butterbee and kick it into another charge.
Okay.
And go for this guy who's prone. He is prone, right?
This one right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll see if I can skewer him with the lance.
Yeah, he's bleeding pretty heavily. He's like partially bent over after he was attacked by the blonde-haired man. Wow. I don't even think you need to roll that. As you like skewer him and, Butterby practically rides right over the top of him. You just hear his bone snaps because the horse kind of tramples over as you put your lance in. Does Lothar do anything else?
No, we, spin Butterby around looking for the next target, and that's about it.
Boru, you're standing by the Wrath Guard. They're laying back a little bit, and you see Hagan kind of retreat a little bit. You notice that the barbarians in front of you are just kind of standing there. You realize that they're probably being held by some sort of magic. This isn't something you wouldn't know. What does Boru and Honeybee do?
Okay, well, Boru, he's going to very discreetly thumb his silver ring that he has on his one finger, and he's going to try to bend will on this asshole because he does not like what that asshole is doing. So depending on what the response to his bend will, it will somewhat kind of decide what he does after that. So he's going to try bend will.
Okay.
On that guy. Yes. Make sure that makes sense. Okay, so I need to make sure it was on the right. So this is the guy I saw jumping around, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, he is my little bitch.
A good dice roll.
I'm going to then move over and give my friend Honeybee a little bit of help with his paralyzed target.
Yeah, he probably won't need too much help. Okay.
That's my turn.
What does Honeybee do?
Oh, he's just going to straight up. Yeah, he's like, this time he actually does go for a bite because the guy he's not moving and Honeybee almost feels insulted. Like Honeybee gets that something was used on this guy, but he feels kind of that it's insulting that the guy doesn't have the dignity to defend himself. So he's going to bite his, his guts.
I would take that as advantage, or I'd probably say favor. Like he's not even moving. He can't move. He's stuck there.
Okay. Does he get advantage for flanking with Boru, or does he just get favor for...
Oh, you could put favor in advantage.
Yeah. Okay, so he's going to do that. Got to make sure he's targeting the correct guy. Because, of course, he isn't. So make it you doing the actions and you being the target. Okay. Christ, it's... Even though I switched the target, it still, for some reason, thinks it's Boru's getting attacked. Stupid game. Hold on. So he's clicked.
It looks like it's right.
He's targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it gave me the resist option. I don't know why.
Oh.
Like it should be right. So we're gonna do that. Favor. Roll. Let's try it again. There we go. It just didn't seem to recognize. Like it, even though I took the target off Boru, I think it, it's like, oh crap, or maybe I hit the button before I switched off. Who knows? Anyway.
So what does that bite look like?
Oh, he's going for the guts, man. He wants a meal. He rips into the guy's flank, literally rips into his flank and starts chewing down.
Yeah,
Hey, if they're not going to give him honey, he's going to take the hide.
he probably breaks his pelvis. You know, he's this huge bear. He berserks. He attacks this one, and you see Yavena jump off, you know, because it's now really hard to be riding Honeybee as he's, you know, starting to eat. And you just see her look at it. Yavena looks at it and goes, wow, that is just... And she kind of backs up and like kind of crawls up on this rock and says, maybe I don't ride him next time into battle.
Honeybee looks at her and kind of smiles with
Blood everywhere.
and bits of meat still hanging from his mouth. He smiles.
Right.
And then Boru just looks and says, he did warn you.
Yavena kind of looks, just shrugs, and then looks back and sees Hagan and goes, back to work. And she starts going through the dead bodies, looking for coin pouches. Got a man to pay. They can't really roll because they're all out. They're all like, Hagan, they roll? You roll on your turn to hold him, right?
They try and resist on.
I think they
each get an attempt to break the chain.
But this was the first round, so I think they're still stuck.
Yeah,
This
did
round.
they act? Yeah,
No.
did they act?
They act before you, and so
Right.
they acted before you. So I think they're still held this round, and
Yes.
we go to Hagan. And fly. What happens, Hagan?
All right, I fly up. I want to fly up high enough, levitate high enough that I can see these archers.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that's too hard. I think you maybe go up by 20, 25 feet. Just because they're up on a ridge, and
Yep.
you just have to get up so you're kind of looking down at them, and you can see their figures in the darkness as they're pulling arrows, and you can see that movement because they have to be right on the ridge. You have to get higher a little bit because the colossi is there to see all
because
four
of
of
the
them.
angle.
Right, to see all
Yep.
four of them. Maybe it's 30 feet, 10 meters up in the air. You kind of float up into the air to see them. You get a fairly good view of what happens next, Hagan, as you like rise up, because you hear the snapping of chains as this huge beast is here. You see it, the whole wagon tips over to the right. It literally dives on top of this Ambrian man right here and carries him into the ground. You see it just dig all of a sudden straight down into the ground, and then it disappears, like it just tunnels, like dirt and grass and rock just comes flying out, and it just dives almost into the ground like it's water. And then you just see it move. You can see the ground bubble, you know, as it's moving
Like
through
a mole's
right,
trail.
and it just moves all the way through this way.
Like
And
Bugs Bunny going to Albuquerque.
right, Lothar, I would have Butterbee make a quick test, I think, and Boru and Honeybee make a quick test as the ground just rolls underneath you and drops away. Butterbee prances away as this huge mound forms in front of it and then collapses down into the ground about 10 feet, 3 meters. Both Boru and Honeybee see it coming towards them and probably jump over to either side of this mound as it's, you know, moving towards them like a wave, and they just kind of roll off it, this mound that then the whole ground kind of dropped in about 10 feet, 3 meters, and they miss the trench. So they're kind of maybe standing on either side of the trench as this thing kind of burrows underneath the ground. And we go back to Kai. I don't want to miss you. What would the answer? What do you want the man to do, Boru, as you take care of?
Okay. So he's gonna look up at the Colossi. He's gonna get a fear-like look in his face. He's gonna say, "Oh shit!" Drop his weapons and begin to back away. First to this hex.
Okay.
And then he's basically gonna go here, then here, then here, and he's gonna turn around and see Lothar and go, "Oh fuck," and back up to here.
I mean, he's gonna get stepped on as the free attack for trying to leave.
Right.
Yes, that's the whole point.
So he drops out of melee.
And I mean, he was going to be stepped on Kai's turn anyway.
Step on him now, Kai. Colossi.
Yes, you get to step on him now. This way, a lot of people get to step on him. I want him dead without necessarily letting people know I'm a witch.
I think that rolled, but it hasn't come up.
5. Why did it roll twice? Just cause?
It's massive, maybe?
Maybe.
Yes, it's cool. Like,
Wow. Just barely doesn't get him.
he has a second chance to fail on
He
all
did?
defense.
He didn't fail.
Didn't
yeah.
fail?
He has a second chance to fail on all
Like-
defense.
What? I haven't seen any of the rolls.
Right. Was he still cursed?
He's cursed as part of the Colossus thing. So creatures have a second time chance to fail all of their defenses.
It did that. It rolled twice for his defense. or
I can't see the
rolled
roll.
twice for the attack.
Right. He
So
hit him twice.
You rolled 2 dice, an 8 and a 14. It took the 8. So it already dealt with the 2 attacks, or 2 defenses, however you want to word it. It gave him massive because it's 2d12 keep highest, and then it gave him Iron Fist robust.
Right.
Okay.
Panzer had 6 points of armor, and the creature, it did attack him twice. That I'm not sure about.
Yeah, it said the second attack you rolled a 16 and a 14. So the 2 attack rolls are up there. 8 and 14 is the first attack, and it chose the 8 because you got 2 chances to fail. The second attack was a 16 and a 14. It's below it.
That
And it
might
took
be a natural warrior. Yes, natural warrior adept.
right.
So
Yeah,
can
but I
make
don't
two
think-
attacks. It's a single target.
I don't think you get those on targets of opportunity, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, of course, because it's an active ability.
Right.
Sorry, that is just all part of the same. Okay, so
Oh, I gotcha.
So you stomp on him. He the Colossi just stomps on him, almost down to it, and he just kind of scoots him out. It stomps on him so hard that it pushes him.
okay, another thing, whilst I was checking through his abilities, I'm going to need him to make a strong versus strong test.
For
part of the Colossus's Wrecker ability.
Let's see
So-
what it says. Oh, he gets knocked prone.
Yeah, he might be knocked prone.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I see it. Strong versus strong.
Yep.
Oops, wrong one.
Okay, so he isn't.
So he does get the bounce.
Yeah.
He bounces against Lothar, probably hits hits Butterby, turns around, and then steps away from Butterby.
Yeah, again, I actually make him even say, "Oh fuck," and he backs away.
Lothar gets
And of
to
course, he dropped his weapon near the Colossi, so
Lothar gets to attack him as he then retreats melee. Lothar, he runs into Butterby. Probably maybe takes you off. Maybe Lothar sees him the whole time. And he bounces off Lothar and Butterby. Does Lothar just stab him with his lance?
Oh yeah, I
Saars-
imagine I was kind of in the middle of a turnaround, maneuver on the horse, and then I feel this bump against the flank of Butterby, and I just kind of like turn and like, oh shit, and stab him real quick.
Right. There's not much left of him. He's probably meandering across there like a drunken man after being stomped on by the Colossi. Like he drops his sword as he's supposed to. He comes across this one. The other man tries to grab him, runs into Butterby, and you turn around and oh my goodness, there he is. And he goes down right there at Butterby's edge. Butterby is kind of standing there and stomps on him with one of his back legs just to be sure, and snorts, kind of looks back at you and then tries to nip your hip.
I'll get you an apple later.
And that brings us to the archers. Let me see if they will attack Kai.
Why would they attack poor Kai? He's just sat there doing nothing.
Yeah, they're part of the same group, Kai. I think it's pretty reasonable that they lay off on you once. They are Saars. It's not like they don't talk. One of them did get to escape. Let me see. Or just ask fate, do they run or do they attack? I'm almost positive they. Do they attack Kai?
I hope not, because I've got no hit points.
All right, Kai, here's what will happen. You got these 4 archers with you. Only 3 of them are going to attack you. This other one is shooting at this one over here. What I want you to do is 1 to 2, it's you. 3 to 4, it's Colossi. So roll 3 times. Yes.
1 on me, 2 on Colossus.
Okay. 2 on the Colossi. I'll do the 2 on the Colossi first.
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
damn, that is a ridiculous amount of damage.
Oh, it's the marksman. Really?
Yeah,
Why
I
did
know.
they have advantage?
because they got height.
Higher up.
They're
They're on
high,
higher
yeah,
ground.
they're higher ground. And the Colossi is so darn big, it's really hard for an archer to miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It is kind of Bondor.
He did get his armor, though. He did get his -6, it looks like, armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
still took 7.
Still took 7.
Yeah, because it did. It rolled.
Yeah,
max
because you
damage
rolled
And
a 0
and
on
one less
with your
than max.
D10. You rolled a 0, so there you go.
All right.
And the next one. Oh,
Also did a lot of damage.
And then the last one is on Kai. Let's just hope this
I mean,
one misses.
Archers are pretty dangerous in this game.
Oh yeah,
They are.
could I argue against advantage given I'm
Uh,
30 plus feet up?
you can
I-
argue against it.
I would go with that. I think that you're riding up on him, so
Yeah, you
you're
can go ahead and
smaller.
argue
You're
all you
small.
want.
You're
You might not get
smaller.
it.
You're a smaller target. So I agree that maybe advantage doesn't. There's one of them is trying to shoot you as you're riding back and forth, and the other 2 archers hit the Colossi, and so you're a different kind of target. So I agree. I won't give them advantage, and I roll
Thank you.
straight.
I'm still going to die.
Jesus.
I had 2
You
hit
weren't
points.
kidding. Oh,
I had 2
damn.
hit points at the start of the session.
What happens, Kai?
I'm peering over to like look at the now smushed body of bleeding out Panzer, and then just feel a thud in my back, and it's like, oh, just dangling limply off the top of Colossus.
Yeah, I just see you losing your grip too, like it just going to fall, and then the last thing you see is this huge colossi hand just grab you out of midair and pull you up and look at it.
I know. I like to imagine after the fiasco with the witch bio or whatever her name was. I am wearing a Colossus seatbelt.
You're strapped in.
You're just
Oh, that's gonna be
dangling
worse.
off the
That's gonna be
Colossus.
that's gonna be worse. That's gonna be worse, Kai. But we'll let you strap in.
Yeah.
All right.
It's more amusing that I'm just dangling off.
The colossi kind of stands up, Lothar, you hit the golden-haired man down to the ground. He's wearing this black mask with this. All you can see his eyes, but his golden hairs around it. He's got this completely black mask on that's almost looks like it's rimmed in light that just dims as he hits the ground. What does Lothar do?
He considers a moment and be like, Ambrian magic. And kicks Butterby again and will charge the knight.
Oh, the Ambrian.
Yes,
that
we are killing everyone.
that is an Ambrian, but go ahead. Reasonable. Saar, you are.
I don't know who's the good guys and bad guys here. All
Oh.
I know is they're not part of the party.
Right. That's an Ambrian who is fighting against your Saars, but I think it's funny if you decide to turn tail and hit the one that's about to go against the Saars that are stuck firm.
Again, Lothar does not know who's on
Right.
whose side. He just knows he's not part of the party.
Wow.
Oh shit!
That's a lot of damage. Wow.
We'll do another attack just to see if we
Okay.
can finish him off.
You rolled a 12, a 6 on the. You rolled max damage on your D12 and D6. All right.
Of course.
You missed. Boru, you're probably standing on the other side of this collapsed tunnel. Probably right there in that center, that dark line as that giant beast went through there. You see Lothar put down this golden-haired man with a black mask on his face. And
I smile when he does that.
something around his neck, and then he goes and attacks the Ambrian knight. You got 2 barbarians that look like they're just stuck in position, like they haven't moved. What does Boru and Honeybee do?
Okay, so Boru comes up a little bit. He makes a big show of doing this. So he walks up. He kind of he looks at the Ambrian out of the corner of his eye. He wants to be sure the Ambrian sees what he's doing and doesn't come over to him. So he comes over and very deliberately takes his new axe that he stole off of one of the barbarians, and he swings at this guy's knees and tries to swing him out from underneath his knees.
Okay. You can make that at favor and advantage since he's stuck. There's nowhere for him to go, and so it's
Right.
really probably an auto hit without. That's the easiest way to do it.
Well,
I think you sweep him.
Add 4 damage because I forgot. Once
Okay.
again, I forgot to click ignore armor.
So you
So it does
sweep
13
him.
damage.
you sweep him off his feet. Like he has just been standing there. He's not bloodied. He's fully hale. There's no marks on him. And you come and just sweep him off his feet with that double axe and land him on the ground. He's bleeding out, from his legs. Does Boru do anything else?
Yeah. Can I finish him off?
You can. Like you
He's
can
stunned by pain.
instead of having him go prone.
He's
you can,
not prone. I
Okay.
kick him in the knees, and again he's gonna buckle. And as he's buckling, my axe comes over and smashes him in the back.
Okay.
Because F these guys, they made me bleed.
You
Okay,
missed.
well, here's the thing. The funny thing is, I've got two-handed force, so the adept level is when I miss, I get to roll again, but use a different die for the damage if it hits.
Okay.
D8.
So I use a D8 instead of a D12. So it won't let me click off the D12 for. Oh no, there it goes. Okay,
Yep.
I can.
It calculates automatically as
See if
the
I can.
maximum a separate thing.
Oh, I got to change the. What I have to do is change it in the actual item. Okay, so give me a sec. Let me switch the items. Base damage.
No, it should be. There should be a macro for backswing.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe I got to.
I don't
Maybe
see
I got to
it.
do the thing, but I don't see it either. So I'm just.
Yeah.
I mean, Lyra's.
Yeah, but it's not
I
a
might have
backswing.
added a. Did I add a separate?
Yeah, that's what I do.
I added a
Oh, you added a separate one, right?
separate.
Weapon,
Oh, because it's bartered sword, so it's one-handed and two-handed.
right?
Right.
It's
Okay.
the same.
So we're gonna go. For damage mod. Why do I have? Oh, because that's because of berserk. I don't have berserk. Okay. So. Got favor, advantage, deep impact, and
Okay.
there we go.
So you kick him in the knees as he's falling. You tap him off with your axe.
Yeah, absolutely. Axe in the back.
Now I'm just gonna jump out of initiative just for a second because I know Lork has to go to bed. I don't want to keep it much longer. I need you to make a death save, but I also need you to make a resolute save at -2.
Resolute. That's 2. What was that?
Oh,
That was a pretty solid resolute. And Kai makes death saves with disfavor because he is sickly.
oh, is that your? Did you have to hit disfavor?
I didn't have an option to it. That just did it straight up. So I shall roll a second one.
Okay.
Okay, so 14
All
is
right.
his single death save.
The resolute save was to maintain control of the colossi, and with a 1, you're gonna obviously the colossi is going to stay in the camp and do whatever you want. I know you probably have to go to bed.
Mhm. Yep.
I will have the colossi attack, or do you want it to defend Kai?
I think it can do. It will shield Kai from
Sure.
any
Okay.
further arrows. I assume that our party are gonna mop all this stuff up.
Right.
Uh,
Now, would you have the yeah, I'll just see what. I don't think so. I don't think Kai is dead, so he doesn't get to decide what the colossi does at this moment. But he did roll a 1, and so would you have the colossi protect itself? Like as you are dying and the world goes black, your last thought to the colossi would be to defend itself or to protect itself.
Keep us safe.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Is probably the most generalized way of putting it.
No, that's reasonable because he is in danger. He's got 4 archers above him, and so on his turn, I will probably keep him safe then. And roll your death save and see what happens, or have you rolled them? When you
Yeah.
come back. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be back tomorrow, so we
Right.
can figure it all out then.
All right.
All right.
Hagen, they get
Enjoy
to.
your evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Yes,
See
it was
ya.
nice to have met you.
Bye-bye.
Hagen, they get to do a save to break free, right? This round.
They were already frozen last round.
Right. They had their free round last time, and that's a strong versus.
That's a. Looked it up before. Resolute. Wait a minute. Pass a resolute test.
You have to pass one, or they have to pass one. Okay.
The target is trapped and may not act until it manages to break free, which requires a passed resolute test.
Nope.
And then if it's not individual, it's as the chain. So if one breaks free, they all break free.
All the others are dead.
Yeah, all the other, but that one is dead.
Oh, never mind.
Right.
Like the old Gilda Radner. Never mind.
Right. Oh, how did I do that? Let me roll this one flat. Oh, my misses. Okay. We will go to Hagen. Oh, actually, yeah, Hagen. Oh, no. Lothar did go. Hagen, you're up in the air. You see arrows fly at the Colossi and Kai. You see the Colossi hit and Kai hit. He goes dangling from the side, or his harness. You know that he's in trouble. What does Hagen do?
Since he was so successful with that chain of black bolts before,
Right.
go see if it'll work again.
That would be crazy. All right.
Oh,
Great.
2 out of 4.
Well, that's still a pretty darn good spell.
It is.
You're kind of now. Do you have to do anything for levitate, or is it just last?
No, I think it lasts for the scene.
Oh yeah, it lasts for. Oh, until you break concentration, which is damage. Like if you took damage, but you're pretty far up there. Okay. The knight.
That would be it. Yeah, I would be done.
The knight on Lothar gets to attack Lothar since he attacked the knight. He raises his bastard sword with 2 hands and brings it down on Lothar. Lothar, you just get hit across like one of your legs as you're still on Butterbee as the knight attacks you. And the knight is going to flee. He looks about the battlefield. He takes his attack and he tries to run to scrabble up the hill. Lothar, you could make an attack as he leaves and you miss. So he moves. He starts scrabbling up the hill, up the berm, really, towards the archers, which he doesn't realize is done. And we will go to the archers, really. Actually, the Colossi will move.
Away.
Right, with Kai. I was making sure he hadn't take a turn. But I think the Colossi double moves with Kai, who's dangling back towards the forest, which leaves the archers. These 2 archers, once they see that this one is running back up the hill to try to escape, they run into the forest. They turn tail and run, and disappear into Davokar as they see the knight come try to scrabble up the hill and kind of disappear. The other two are held this round because of the black bolt, and that leads us to Lothar. Lothar, all you can see near you really is this barbarian and Black Cloak engaged in battle, and this barbarian that's still stuck in his position. What does Lothar and Butterby do?
Whirling around again, we'll charge this barbarian here. All right, we won't
Second attack.
knock him prone. Yeah,
Okay.
make another attack.
So you go, Butterby kind of jumps over to spar, goes around the draft animals that are pulling the wagons, and Lothar, you change sides again and dispatch a Saar that you know is dressed as the Odavian, and the Black Cloak is like looking up at you with his weapon. Does Lothar do anything else?
Blood Daughter, I don't know whose side I'm on. I don't feel like I changed sides, but I'm sure to some other people it probably seems that way.
Yeah, Boru's behind you, like he sees you attack the knight and then sees you kill the other yellow-haired man with the black mask, and then you go around and you
Boru feels fair's fair.
Fair's fair.
Kill an Ambrian, kill a barbarian. Kill an Ambrian, kill a barbarian.
Right. Boru, what do
Besides,
you
they
do?
attacked us first.
Right. What do you do, Boru and Honeybee?
Okay, so I move and say to the Colossi, let me see the elf, please.
I think that's reasonable. He'd probably reach up and pull Kai off his shoulder, and you realize that he pulls him off and the harness snaps. He probably even breaks Kai's arm as he's pulling him off because it's hard. Kai's tied up in there, and he just rips
I'm
Kai
quite
off.
happy with that. This elf has been a little bit of a bitch. So if he gets some extra pain, fine.
Well, he's dead, so he rips him off unconscious and lays him down at your feet, and then just kind of goes into a squat. His squat, he's still huge above you. He squats and just kind of watching what you're doing.
Right. We're going to touch Kai in a not weird way. Although I guess weird is relative to the... So Kai gets 6 back. And of course, it totally gave it to the wrong person. See, how much did it say I got back? Okay, so I gotta then remove how much it gave me because I was targeting myself again.
You forgot.
So you can give Kai 6 back.
Yeah, I did.
And I look at the elf and say, "You owe me."
Yeah, he hasn't come awake yet.
Obnoxious one.
His eyes are just fluttering.
I don't care. I still say, "You owe me, obnoxious one." Meanwhile, Honeybee is gonna harumph at the girl, like he, as if asking, "Are you getting back on or not?"
Oh, yeah. I think the girl is actually doing her thing.
Oh, okay.
Hagan knows what that thing is. You see the girl hopping from body to body, going through her clothes,
Right.
doing that sort of stuff. She's an urchin of the camp. She's looking for coin. You look at her and you realize she knows the bear's got to do its job, and now Yegvena's got to do her job. Cathune is probably doing it a little bit, but
Okay, so Honeybee is not sure about the elf or the archers, so he's gonna move.
he's still
Here,
berserking,
'cause-
right?
Oh yeah, he's still berserking, but he isn't sure if the archers are going to shoot him or not, and he doesn't want to, get shot by stupid men he can't eat. So he's going to trundle to the wagon, and that's going to be his turn.
Okay. Hagan, you casted Black Bolt. You're high above. The other archers disappear. This one right here is crawling up the berm. These two archers are stuck in space. You have to. And so what does Hagan do? You are muted if you are speaking.
He will target one of them with larva boil.
Okay, one of the archers?
Yep.
Okay.
It's resolute versus strong. It should roll it automatically.
No, the very first round, it's not the very first round, it's just a straight resolute roll.
No, he's doing larva boil. Right?
Yeah, and the very first round, I'm pretty sure you just roll the resolute to see if it sticks at all. It's afterward when you're maintaining it that it's resolute versus strong, I think.
The effect is automatic first turn.
Oh, right there. Yeah, you don't even need to roll the first turn. You just need to apply temporary corruption.
Wow.
Yep. Which I'll roll now. That's good.
All right, and you roll 1d4, right?
Yes.
This round? Yeah. So that's your temporary corruption.
Yeah, the first one was, and I like that.
You don't want to switch it?
So the one that I have highlighted takes 4.
Right. I'll put it in. You just see, you probably can see it because you know what you're doing, Hagan. Just bubbles underneath his clothing and, things moving underneath him. He can't move, can't grimace, can't do anything. No screaming is allowed when you're stuck by a black bolt and then get hit by a larva boil. He does get a resolute test though.
Yeah.
Because he took damage, to have it break out of that. So I'm going to do his resolute test related to his damage.
Well, is this a new round? Was he frozen for a round already?
Yeah.
He was, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
And so I'm just making his resolute test because he took damage. So I'm seeing if he will even act next round. Just so I know, because it happens next, really. Well, the knight will. Okay, so he will make it. Where's the knight? Oh, the knight's gonna move up to the ridge and then keep running into the forest and disappear. And Kai's not gonna do nothing because he's waking up. And that leads us to Lothar. Lothar, you're on your horse. You've taken out some Ambrians and some barbarians. And what do you do now? There's a black guard right here. Black cloak looking at you right here. Not sure of what to do because you just killed a barbarian. And there's a barbarian that's stuck in place, further back. You look up this hill, and you realize it would take Butterby a bit to get up on top. What does Lothar do?
So the archers are Ambrian, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I attack the black cloak.
Well, no, the archers you would assume are Saars,
Right.
dressed as Odavians.
Oh, those are barbarians up there.
Right.
Okay.
They're part of the barbarian group that attacked the whole.
Right. They're part of this.
Right.
Ambushers.
Yeah.
Right. So, how far can I get in a double move?
With the horse?
Yeah. So, I'm thinking this little edge here. Like, if I take Butterby that way and come around.
Oh, you could
Towards
probably
the
go
archers.
up the
I would
berm.
think he would charge. he could
Oh,
charge
can I
up
go up the
here.
berm? I thought it was like
Probably,
too
right?
Yeah,
steep.
you could go up it. The horse could go up it. It just would take the whole move action. Like you wouldn't have any other action as it gets up that kind of 20, 30
Okay.
foot
That's
top.
fine.
Okay. So you move, right? You move next to that one. You see Butterbee just turns up the hill, dirt flying behind it. You know, you could practically touch the ground, and it just gallops and churns up this hill with you on its back. You gotta probably lay forward a little bit so you don't fall off the back. And Lothar and Butterbee churn up the hill. Boru, you're behind the wagon. You just healed Kai. The Colossi just puts its big hand over the top of Kai, you know, doing what he said to do before he lost consciousness, was to protect them. So he lays this whole giant hand across him so you could barely see Kai underneath this huge Colossi hand. What does Boru and Honeybee do?
Okay, well, Honeybee is going to move here. 1, 2, 3, 4 to see what things are like. Does he see that there's still a human here?
Oh yeah, I think he would see the black cloak, the Ambrian.
Okay. Well, he feels like these black cloaks are no better than... He feels like they're just on the hit list because somebody's been attacking the Ambrians. Plus, once somebody started attacking the Ambrians, Boru was kind of like, oh shit, we're going to have to kill all of them now. And with that, Boru comes over here, figuring we're going to have to kill them all now, because if one of them gets away, he's going to tell people. So, fuck it. Kill the goddamn...
All right. Make Honeybee's attack not at advantage, since Boru would flank him afterwards. Make Boru's attack without advantage until because Honeybee would come around afterwards.
Right. Ignore armor. I don't know why you're giving me
I don't
damage.
expect him to survive, but
Right. That's what I'm going to do. You know what? I think what I'll do... Hold on. I have to readjust my damage on my double axe. I think I'm going to drag another double axe so that there's one with D12 and one with
create a second one.
Right. Because I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. Let's see. So he is going to attack that guy. Ignore armor. Not have advantage. Don't get an extra D6.
Okay. So you hit him with your double-bladed axe, and Honeybee comes around the other side. What does it look like as you and Honeybee attack together?
Oh, well, we're used to doing this. This is how we're taught to attack. So I come in, he comes in, I'm going high, he's going low. So he's basically trying to rip the dude's hamstrings out while I'm trying to, either take the guy's head off or make him back up into the bear attack. So, one of us goes high, the other goes low. And that's what we do. We instinctively seem to know which one's going to go high, which one's going to go low because of our familiar bond. So this time I go high and he goes low. Hold on. So, you've got their damage mod, don't ignore armor. Favor.
So Boru and Honeybee take out this Ambrian black cloak.
Yep.
He just kind of
Had to be done.
backs up into Honeybee. Doesn't even see him as you strike him with your double axe at first, and then backs up and then right into Honeybee's massive arms, and Honeybee does him in at the end. Hagan, you're still levitating. I believe the other archer gets to make a save, right?
Yes.
Just resolute, straight. Oop. Let me see. Oh, he still would do it at a 2. Okay. You know that the black bolt has broken off both of them.
And this one too, right?
Now, does it count for separate strings? Oh, this one has to make.
We messed up, and I figure, I'll remember that for next time. But if I have somebody paralyzed, I can't shoot another black bolt
okay, that's all right.
power. So,
what we'll do is we'll take that off. Then we'll just say he
leave
breaks.
everybody
We'll just say
unparalyzed. Yep.
we're just and he makes it, so you know that they're unparalyzed, perhaps, or you will know it at the end of your turn. What do you do as you're still levitating high up there in the sky?
So this guy will take a D4 still, or do I make a test?
No, I think it takes a D4.
No, then I have to fail resolute against strong, right?
Right. Resolute, strong, and see if the larva boil lasts.
Strong.
Right. So then he takes a D4. 2.
So 2 more this round. And I will shoot this guy with a larva boil.
Okay.
Cognizant of my threshold. Which I'm
You are
relatively close. Oh, I don't. I automatically.
right. You just roll your You just roll your
Right, my corruption.
right. He took 2 damage. Yeah, it takes it straight off. So
2 damage. Yep.
right. And you took 4 temporary corruption.
I took 4. Yep.
Yeah, you're getting close, huh?
Mm-hmm. I am. Little too close for comfort.
It would be kind of funny if you were levitating and you turned into an abomination. I would imagine that would just, that'd be pretty funny. The archer next to Lothar has no choice. He's bleeding out, Lothar. He's barely on his feet. He looks over at the other archer and he just croaks at him, "Run! Run, Jem! Run!"
Somebody hit him already?
You did. Like he's been hit. You see these larvae like boiling out of him, out of his neck and his arms. You just see him, these bugs just ripping out of his skin of his arms that you can see in his neck, and he's got blood coming out of his mouth, and he's kind of weaving a little bit, and he just yells at the one behind him to run, and he attacks you and Butterbee. So roll a 1d4. 1 to 2 is Butterbee, and 3 to 4 is you. You. Okay. He reaches up and tries to stab you with his sword as he's barely on his feet. Oh. And it just kind of slides off your armor of your chest, Lothar, and he just kind of almost grabs the saddle to hold on so he doesn't fall over and pushes himself away. The other guy does run away into the forest. I'm going to leave him there just so that you can make your test next round, Hagan, to see if he survives as he runs through the forest.
Yep.
And I'll probably leave him there for a while. Lothar, what do you do?
The only thing a bloodthirsty barbarian can do. Try to kill this guy in front of me.
It's a barbarian now. instead of Ambrian.
Ambrian, barbarian, either way, he's not on my side.
Right. Hey, that's what a Wrathguard would say, Lothar. Oh, how did you miss?
Oh, I know.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I am below half, so I get a second chance to attack.
Oh, you're below half hit points.
You're right.
Is that blood combat?
Yeah, blood combat.
Oh, okay. There
That's
you
better.
go. So you dispatch this barbarian, Lothar. You're almost positive it's a Saar dressed as a Ambrian. You put your lance through him and he just kind of slumps down to the ground. You just see his skin still move, and his armor bubble up as Hagen's larva boil is still busting out of his mouth and out of his body and out of his legs. And he's almost kind of jittering on the ground as these larvae are just kind of boiling out of his skin and his body as you put him down. Do you do anything else?
Curse the nastiness of what I'm seeing, and as I whirl around on top of this mound here, looking for the next victim. That's about it.
Yeah, there is none. This archer is actually way gone into the forest. I'm just having him there so he can roll his resolute. The only one that's left is a warrior that's alive here. But Boru and Honeybee still get to go first before that guard warrior. What does Boru and Honeybee do?
Okay, so one, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't quite make it there this turn, so
Okay.
we'll end up surrounding this guy. With a
double move. That's just terrible. All right then, Boru. Roll a 1d4. 1 to 2 is you, and 3 to 4 is Honeybee. It's you. So the barbarian, growls at you as it finally gets to move. It's been standing there for so long. The whole combat, everyone else is dead, and he hasn't even spilt any blood. But now you and Honeybee are there, and he looks around and realizes there's no place to run. So he might as well die as a barbarian, and he raises his big double axe and attacks you. Misses. He misses completely. Like terrible miss, Boru. As you and Honeybee surround him. Hagen, you make a resolute versus strong test to see if larva boil continues on that one.
It's resolute versus strong. So
Right.
The guy who's fleeing.
Okay. And so then you do 4 more. Let's see if he dies in the woods somewhere.
Do you want me to continue to do that just to check and see what happens, or?
So you can do it. You can do it, and I can tell you. You can roll 1 more. Really see what would happen. Oh. You're going to have to roll 1 more.
Okay, okay.
You're going to have to do it 1 more time. See if you succeed.
Oh! Shit.
Right, Hagen. You don't know it, but this man goes stumbling through Davokar, like larva's boiling out of his skin. He's like taking off his armor, trying to get out of his shirt because they're all underneath him, and he goes stumbling through the forest, bare chested. He's throwing off all his stuff. Larva is pulling out of him, and then he grabs this big tree and takes a big breath and then looks back and then keeps stumbling through Davokar. And you may not notice, but somehow he survives.
He survives for now. He's in Davokar with 1 toughness. I feel like he's not going to get as far as he'd like.
This guy takes 2 from Black Bolt.
Right. Okay. I think I put it on there. And then you paralyze him. It's just not fair. Not fair at all.
He's back to being paralyzed.
Right. Lothar, you're up on top of the berm.
Burn.
You're looking down. You don't really see anything. You see Bolduru and the bear. Looks like they're engaged in combat. You look up. You probably can't really see Hagan flying in the dark sky. There's nothing else around left for you to attack. What does Lothar and Butterby do?
Well, if I can see no enemies, that means the blood in my eyes resides. I'll probably dismount Butterby because
Okay.
he's had a tough day, and I'll feed him an apple and sit down,
All right.
take a break.
We will just go to Honeybee and Boru because you are fighting this guard warrior that goes stiff, Boru. You see the scintillating light of magic, kind of darkness, and he just goes rock still. And he tries to turn his eyes to it, but they're just locked straight ahead, looking over your right shoulder. And you realize the barbarian is stuck, unable to fight you. What does Boru do and Honeybee?
We're gonna have a look of disgust on us because this is not fair. We don't like this, but it would be stupid to not finish off the job. So we're gonna come up with the axe, like basically try to clip the guy in the chin. If it takes his chin or takes his head off, just as well. But that's where we're gonna go.
I would roll that with favor and advantage. I don't think that Honeybee would care because he's berserking. So
yeah,
like,
Honeybee, he senses my indignation, but he's like, whatever.
okay.
Like he thinks it's a free meal. He's happy. He doesn't mind participating in this butchery. Advantage or armor. Okay, he's not going prone because we clip him in the chin really hard, and then the axe goes the full pendulum to the full end of the swing, and then it comes down in the back of this guy's neck.
Honeybee doesn't even get to go. Hagan, you're way up there in the air, and you look down, and there's no more combat. You see Yagavena and Cathune like rummaging through the bodies, Ambrian and barbarians. What does Hagan do?
I'll slowly descend to the ground.
Okay. You kind of slowly descend to the ground, and by the time you get there, Yagven is looking at you the last 10 minutes and goes, that takes a long time. Heck, if I was an archer, I'd just like, ching, ching, ching. But anyway, he holds out a bag to you and goes, here's your take. I'm almost positive that's 1 and 3. She gives you like a big bag of a little pouch of Thaler.
Good job, little one.
She goes, yeah, we found our other friends in the front wagon up there.
Oh, there were captives?
Well, they're kids. They're not as adventurous as I am. They haven't ridden a Bagorn.
But were they prisoners?
No, they were scoping him out. We were supposed to rob them once they got to the camp.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the woman, she liked magic things, and we would follow caravans, see what they had, and report back.
So, do you have an idea what this one might contain besides that creature that escaped?
I don't know. I felt some bad thing. That blonde-haired man is wearing a black mask. I'm sure that's no good, Hagan. Or Ambrian. I'm sure that's no good, Ambrian. I don't know everything. I'm only 8.
That's
9.
probably no good for. That's probably no good for anybody.
Right.
All right. Well, carry on.
Okay.
If you find anything else.
So the company find a lull, really, after pretty much the barbarians who are alive fled. No Ambrians survive, and they find the caravans. The caravans, have foodstuffs and weapons and cargo, and this kind of giant being that got escaped. The blonde-haired man is still laying on the ground with this black mask with kind of silver light that's dim around the side that's gone out, and this odd sort of necklace that looks like it has a what's it called? Darn it.
Pentagram?
No.
Maybe?
It's what's those things that have sand on the both sides that you turn over for keeping time?
Hourglass.
Hourglass has this necklace with a little hourglass on it. As you're looking down at him, Boru, Lothar, and Hagan, and that's what you see as battle comes to an end. What I'll probably do is stop it there and send you some information about the mask and the timekeeper.
Yeah, I'm going to take a closer look at the necklace.
Right. How do you take them off, Hagan?
Well, the mask I'm not going to touch.
Okay. You just lift the
I'm gonna
necklace off
avoid
them?
that. Yeah,
Right.
carefully lift the necklace off.
Okay. Yeah, nothing
If you
happens.
reach for the necklace, I suggest you use a cloak instead. Something is not right about that guy. It's either the necklace or the mask.
Yeah, Hagan, you grab the silver necklace, Boru says, wait. Maybe that's not a good idea. And you pull off the necklace. It's on a silver chain, like kind of thick silver chain, and your fingers touch it, but nothing happens. And you pull off this necklace with this hourglass in it. You don't really feel any terribleness at the moment. The black mask is still on his head. And we'll end it there for today. Any questions or comments? Hopefully you had fun. I had fun. As
It
usual.
was fun.
It's always a lot of
I almost got to watch the mouthy elf die. That's fun.
Right now he doesn't have to make his death saves. It's a 1 in 20.
Yeah.
1 in 20. What was really funny is he has enslaved the Colossi, and anytime he tells the Colossi to do something that is against the nature or
nature.
right, he has to make a resolute save. Otherwise the Colossi is going to turn on him. And he rolled a 1,
Hey.
which is funny.
I don't understand why the Colossi works with the elf, but,
No.
he's an elf. So
Right.
I'm just thinking that's something they do. When the Colossus turns on the elf, I will totally cheer it on.
Yeah, I when you mentioned that, I thought it was pretty funny. Well, I wonder what happens later if he ever fails that resolute test.
Oh, not good things will happen. The Colossus will stomp him, and I won't stop it.
But he rolled a 1, which is fantastic. So,
So the creature disappeared, right?
yeah, I mean, you could see the
It did.
tunnel. You could see the tunnel, like it tunneled down in there. Anyone have beast lore?
And there was kids in the wagon. Can we I try to figure out why these Ambrians are carrying around a crazy
No, the
creature.
kids apparently were scoping the wagons. They weren't in the wagons.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So the 2 children here were sent by the undead woman that Hagaan and Guttorm defeated to set them free, and they were sent before they were sent free to spy on the wagon and determine if it had anything of value, specifically artifacts, for the undead woman to try to take, which it does, mainly from the blonde-haired man. You're not really quite sure why they had a Gawan. Hagan may think that they're on their way to Thistlehold to take the Gawan to the Abomatorium. That might be a good guess. But
Okay.
otherwise, he's not really sure why they had captured it was a younger Gawan. Like, the barbarians would know that, as they would probably have some idea of what Gawans are as this giant tunneler, but this wasn't a a tunneler of main
Full
size.
size.
Yeah, like this was a a youth one, a younger, kind of normal size Guan, like wasn't. So barbarians wouldn't really know why it. Besides that, Ambrians do Ambrian things, which
Right.
right.
Yep. And that's why they all met their death.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Yep.
See you.
See you guys.
Thanks, Gene.